That's the only good one. The one.
Yeah.
But he's in a few.
I know. I gotta say though, I do think Don. I agree. Long live the Don. He's great, and he's much better than the other War Machine, who was never War Machine.
Were we talking about John Cheetos?
Yeah, Don Cheetos rock.
Well, Johnny Cheetos.
All right, so let's get to it. If we're doing, I guess, movie when they came out order, the first one was Iron Man, right?
Correct.
All right, so someone's gonna have to let me know.
I have a list.
Okay, so Iron Man, what is it?
Give it an A for me.
I give it an A.
Yeah,
I give it an A as well.
Yeah, I feel like it's like one of those ones that like almost teeters on S just because of like what it established, but as a movie of itself, I'd say it's an A.
Also, I guess we should say a little bit about, because like the way it's the way the grade ranking system works, this is like for Marvel movies themselves, so not compared to other movies or anything. And I feel like if you're going S to F, there have to be movies in S tier and there have to be MCU movies in F tier, right? Okay, so
Yeah,
it's within
absolutely.
MCU.
Yeah.
And yes, I agree. Iron Man, I would say, is an A. Anyone not on that?
If we're doing all the movies, I can think of a good amount that I would rate higher. So I'm more into B. It's still really good. I think B is like still a good score. So I would give it a B.
All right. So what do we have? 4 A's and B?
I think so, yeah.
It's an A, baby.
That's an A.
I just think it's such like a nice little perfect like template, because I mean I know there were origin stories before this, but this was kind of like the one that set up that nice little clean origin story that they used as like a printing press for going forward, and it was just good. Like
I remember seeing it in the theaters being like, oh, this is going to be stupid, because it was hit or miss whether or not a superhero movie was just really bad or okay at the time, and it blew me out of the water, and I ended up like going again like immediately, and I was just like, okay, best thing. So
superhero movies before then could have either been a Blade 2 or a Blade 3.
Yeah,
but luckily
because Blade 2 was like pretty good.
Yeah, Blade 2 is
Blade 2. Now Blade 3.
We'll do the free Blade tier list later.
Hey, for Blade when it comes, we'll add Blade to our tier list when it comes out. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, just also remember Iron Man before those movies came out was a D list
trash.
Yes, Iron Man was a joke.
Was a joke. So like for that movie to come out and like establish Iron Man as the lead of the MCU was quite great.
He usurped Spider-Man for a good bit there.
Oh, for sure. Because Spider-Man was the lead of Saturday morning cartoons, and Iron Man was the lead of, oh, you got to stay home from church, but as penance, what's on is Fantastic Four and Iron Man cartoons, and they were terrible. Anyway, what was the next? Oh, it was Incredible Hulk, right?
Incredible Hulk is next, yeah.
Incredible Hulk.
So that's an S.
Top of the list.
This goes in the Goku rank.
S plus.
I think we're just hitting the top and then just hitting the bottom. I think
Flush it.
Yeah.
Flush it.
That's a big old F.
It's a big old F.
That's a big old F.
Big old F.
Bro, do you disagree at all?
I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter, but you still have to give it a ranking.
You still gotta tell us what you think.
Even if it doesn't matter. If it's an A or if it's an S,
anything above a D, Brody.
Yeah, it'll move it up to E.
Because I don't know what are we using E on the
we're
scale.
using E.
Okay, I'll put it at E.
All right.
I could maybe see a case for E. Like I could see a case for E because
I don't think it's a total flop.
It's not the worst thing ever, but I just
it's an F.
I still low-key wish we had Edward Norton more than Mark Ruffalo.
Really?
That is a controversial take.
We're getting more Abomination in the future, which is set up in this. So it's a payoff for later that we never knew.
And you get Ross too.
And I like Ross.
Norton, although is apparently incredibly difficult to work with.
No, he is.
Yeah, he would not have fit well.
Same with Terrence Howard. That's why I would also rate Iron Man down more, because Terrence Howard is no longer with us, and
no longer.
But I'll give it an E. I mean,
what did you do to Terrence Howard?
But
No one called Terrence Howard. Brody did something.
The mouse put out a hit for Terrence Howard.
I think it's not a good movie by any means, but I can watch some scenes and enjoy myself.
So you would say there is a worse MCU movie than Incredible Hulk. You don't have to say what it is. Okay, cool. Anyway, it's going to F tier.
Also,
because there were a bunch of Fs.
We can adjust if we need,
can.
right? Like,
we can kind of do some retroactive moving around.
This tier list is not set in stone.
I will say the Incredible Hulk is only F because Hulk is not part of the MCU, because that is a G if we're including that. But
Hulk, you mean the movie Hulk where he fights the Cloud?
Eric Bana one?
No, not the Incredible Hulk. Just
the 2004
Hulk.
one, I think, with Eric Bana.
Yeah. The only saving grace for Incredible Hulk is it's not Hulk.
Yeah, those dogs.
If Hulk was there, it would change the whole dogs. All right.
Yeah, it would change a lot of.
What's next? Was it Iron Man 2?
Iron Man 2.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah, they crank these out.
I'll go first. I'm giving it a D. I hate this movie.
I was wondering. Yeah, I know.
I hate this movie so much.
I'm in lines of a B. I actually really like the movie, but I do see a lot of its issues.
Yeah, I would agree with a B. Yeah,
I think in the vein of seeing issues, I think I'll give it a C, because I think that's just kind of a flat overall. Like there's some parts I like, some parts I don't. I think it's just.
Correct.
I
think it's Mac too.
A lot of credit for again it being the jumping off for the MCU.
Also, it's where the Don showed up. Long live the Don.
Don showed up.
It's where you get Black Widow too. It's like the first one to start. Like, all right, we're gonna bring in some characters.
Yeah, it's like Iron Man 2 is when they kind of were like, oh.
Yeah, the Iron Man 1 was like, all right, if this doesn't become a thing, we made like a one standalone good movie. Iron Man 2 is like, all right, let's build this out now. You get more of actually Nick Fury, which is what. Yeah, it's a good building movie. But I'd give it a B.
Josh,
we got a D, a B, and 2 C's. Is that correct?
Bro,
I think it's 2 B's, 2 C's, and a D.
Oh, 2 people gave it B.
Yeah, me and Colton both gave it a B.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So someone do the math of what does that average out to?
I think that averages to a C.
Well, I'm no higher than a C, and I'd like to not have to think about whether I really want to give this movie. I couldn't give this movie a D. This movie was fine. I give this movie a C. So we got 2 B's, 2 C's, and a D, and that makes it a C. It's a C.
Yeah.
I think if I was going to be swayed, I think I could be swayed more down than I could up, honestly.
Mickey Rourke, he was in a different.
You don't like his
universe.
I was about to say,
together.
Can I sway you by saying I want my bird?
Please, it's bored.
I want to move on to a better movie.
Oh, are we moving on to a better movie?
Well, yeah, Brody, I don't know that you're going to get your wish because.
Oh no, yeah, no. This is the movie. I thought
Thor?
was. No, Thor 2. We haven't gotten there.
Thor 1 is the.
I think if we're going D, I think Thor 1's a D. That movie is boring.
I'm good with D.
I'm good with D. Yeah.
Also, Thor looks horrible in this movie. He has like a really close cut beard.
And like just like a really weird looking
just started to work out. Yeah,
I was gonna say like it's weird to look at him. Like don't get me wrong, he's fit. Like I have nothing on that man in that movie, but then you look at him now, and that man has muscles that I didn't know existed now.
Also, I guess this could be kind of thrown up to production things, but like this movie is also trying to build, but in like a really dumb way because like Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye is there, but we see 2 seconds of him and then he disappears. Just have him in the movie.
They also call, magic. Oh, you call it magic. We call it science until we get to magic. And then when we get to Doctor Strange,
now it's magic.
Yeah, and then let's be honest, like what they're doing is just straight up magic.
Magic now. Yeah.
Natalie Portman, I just don't care for her as an actress. Period. So she drags the movie down.
And then Kenneth Branagh does all those really cool action shots like every 5 minutes of like everything's on a tilt and like.
Oh, that's right. I rewatched that lately, and there are so many Dutch angles in that.
So many Dutch tilts in that thing. Yeah, it's
in
crazy.
Which movie?
In Thor.
Oh, they're going that old 50s Batman style.
It is like Battlefield Earth levels of Dutch angle, and the fact that like
watch the scene where he gets his powers back when he's fighting the Destroyer, and they pan to like 6 different reactions of people just
Batman.
Just, wow, look at him. He's got a hammer now. It's like, okay, yeah, cool. We got it. And it seriously goes on for like 2.5 minutes.
We got a couple things here from the chat. Kevin, I think he said he liked Sam Rockwell. I don't know which one he's talking. It was Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell.
Iron Man.
He really
was
was
one of the better parts of that film.
What was he?
He was Hammer.
Oh, he's Man, that's a shame. I guess I didn't realize that was who Hammer was.
And
you might see him again.
I think he's going to come back. Yeah,
definitely will see him again.
Armor Wars.
And Samantha says Iron Man 2 is definitely one of my favorites and very quotable, which I'm pretty sure we're just talking about the board again.
Yeah.
Austin says, Drake, you are the star of this strem. With the hot takes about Natalie Portman. All right, what did we rate? What did we rate for?
I think D was we're D.
Brody, did every person say D?
What did you?
I think it's a C.
Really?
I like the design of Asgard, and it's where we first get to see Asgard. Brana did this movie's very fantasy feel.
Sure.
And we get Loki. Loki's one of my favorite characters in the MCU. His interaction with Thor, and he's like the main-ish villain for this. I will say Hemsworth has been like a different Thor in every movie, and this is one of the weirdest ones. I'm not a fan of the Thor in this movie.
Yeah.
But
he's very much like the Norse. Like
I'm fine with it being D because C, D, it's meh.
Well, I mean, I think I would put this movie at C, but also 2 C's, 3 D's is going D, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And I will, I think probably, I don't know, this is like a weird nitpicky thing that I just have against the movie Thor, is that, yes, we have Loki, and I like Loki, but the Destroyer is one of the most boring enemies in the existence of comic books. It is just a big metal man who's only attacked if his face opens up into a beam.
Has no character development or anything. It's just
that's what he did in the movie too. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He did that, and then he got destroyed, and I was like, wow, I didn't care about that thing at all.
Yeah.
Like, who gave a crap?
I feel like there could be several bad guys from this series of movies. And yes, the robot's probably the worst one, but that had a similar who cares? He was there, now he's gone. Who cares?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he was the main muscle villain. I still consider, I guess, Loki the main villain, where he's the robot's the guy for Thor to punch.
And if we're talking about, you were talking about, Hawkeye's there and they're trying to set stuff up. I mean, Hawkeye wasn't the main setup. Loki was the setup.
No, Loki was a setup for Avengers.
And Loki was a way better setup in Thor than Black Widow was in Iron Man 2, because she was there for no reason other than here's Black Widow.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree.
Anyway, Thor's a D. What came after Thor?
Captain America, the First Avenger.
The First Defender.
The First Defender.
Yeah, that's the First Defender.
So I think I will throw this out there because Captain America is my favorite, one of my favorite Marvel superheroes.
Captain America I was going to say Captain America sucks as I have the Captain America shield right here.
I think I might have to give this movie a C.
Ooh.
I think it is kind of flat. Hugo Weaving's Red Skull, I incredibly enjoy, but really just like the second half of this movie is just not that interesting compared to the first.
Yeah, the character is good, but the movie
of Cap doing stuff, and then we just go bing bang boom, he's got to take down Hydra, chop it all up, get rid of that. Like, I can watch
a montage.
Yeah, the first half of this movie I love, and I can watch on repeat. The second half is kind of.
That's why I don't remember anything from the second half, apparently. I think I have nothing to add. You said you'd give this a C, Josh?
I think, because it's precisely in the middle for me, where it's just like half of it is S tier, and then half of it is like E tier, and that just flattens out to a nice C for me.
I'm on the cusp of BC, so that's me.
I think, I agree with you. Captain America is probably my favorite character from the MCU, but this one is just, it falls flat in some parts. I would honestly be okay with Thor as a D. I'd go C.
Same.
Yeah. Right.
All right, Brody, give it an
what
S.
Is it,
Here
Brody?
we go.
Brody's like, this is an S, clearly.
Which one you going, S or F?
So out of the three, I guess, first film for the three main characters, this one's my favorite. So if I had to rate it, I can rewatch this movie anytime. I'm giving it an A. I love all the characters. I think it has the most human story out of all the three, obviously because he is the most human, I guess, him and Robert Downey Jr. But his whole origin to becoming Cap, I can watch all that. Falling on the grenades, an iconic scene. I didn't mind Hugo Weaving. I actually liked Hugo Weaving as Red Skull. I just wish we got to see.
Oh no, I love him.
more
I was
of
gonna
him.
say, did anyone say that? No, I think everyone loves you.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. If I mentioned something earlier, I only meant praise.
Okay.
Evidently not.
Again, Haley Atwell's Peggy. Getting more of her soon. And What If?
I will say, just like the casting of that movie is just like Tommy Lee Jones as the general or colonel.
Howard Stark looks a little off compared to older Howard Stark, but who cares?
Yeah.
The worst part about Haley Atwell is that we don't get more of her.
I think, in my opinion, this is like the least, like when you watch Thor, you can tell like, oof, that is an outdated movie. I think this one's like the most rewatchable, where it's not like as outdated as some of the other MCU movies that came out early 08, 09, 010.
As far as like an origin movie goes.
Right. Uh-huh.
I think Captain America would have been definitely higher ranked for me if they just kind of like slowed it down to the point where like he just has to beat Red Skull and like some of his cronies. He doesn't have to overthrow all of Hydra or something. Like give that movie time to breathe instead of him rushing through, half of Germany to blow up Hydra bases.
That is a big thing. It's like there was Red Skull, and I mean, who I understand is kind of a thing in the comic. And it's like, okay, there we go. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to BC Powder.
The biggest bummer is that you.
Sponsored.
Okay.
that was the sponsored segment. We got to make
okay. I saw Kevin say it too, and I wasn't sure what that meant. I was hoping someone knew what it meant.
No, I didn't know what it meant. I'm just reading things that are on a screen.
Right. Yeah, BC head powder.
When I'm having aches and pains,
I was going to say, let me hold on.
Powder.
Do the ad read for BC Powder.
It's great because
a small little white envelope filled with what tastes like poison. Go for BC
I hate having the pill like be something that I don't taste. I want to taste it. That's why most of the time you crush up your pills so you can taste the bitterness.
Yeah, it's the worst part of a pill is not being able to taste the goo. Anyway,
right, so we have 3 C's, an A, and I'm kind of on the cusp BC on First Avenger. So does that make it C or B or in the middle?
I am fine within the middle of B and C, very much so, because I do think it's a little better than Iron Man 2, but
it is. I would agree with that. I think I'd agree.
But I think I'm going to have a lot of B's and C's, so I'm fine with doing kind of these.
I'll figure it out.
I think I might, if push comes to shove, I think I could probably push it up to a B more than, because like just seeing it sitting next to Thor rubs me the wrong way.
I have a problem with how high Thor is, but that's
It's a D.
This will start to look better once we start throwing in some more movies.
Yeah.
All right. What came after Cap?
After Cap is Marvel's The Avengers.
Marvel's The Avengers.
A for me.
Yeah.
I and it's just mostly, and I know that movie has its problems too, but the feeling I felt watching that movie, having it be the first thing where like, hey, we have these 5 other things finally coming together, and these guys get to interact and actually see these comics come together. I've never been so excited in my life. Even Infinity War and Endgame, it didn't get the same. Like,
yeah, it was the first one to do it and do it right.
Yeah, what it was matters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I would say A as well.
Also, I can rewatch it pretty well. Like I just think
I rewatch that movie constantly. Like if I'm just like cleaning or doing something, I put that movie on.
It's Black Widow and Hawkeye that's kind of dragging it down from an S for me.
Birdie, what are you thinking?
Low A, high B, somewhere in there.
I think that was my exact sentiment.
Some parts don't hold up to this day, but on like when it came out, I mean, if we were having this discussion in 2012, there'd probably be an S tier for like what it accomplished and did. I think as the years goes on and we keep getting more of these movies, it will probably keep going down on my list because of certain elements that are outdated. But no, it's still a great movie.
I think this movie might kind of be like a reverse Captain America for me. And the fact that like the beginning, I don't hate it, but it's just kind of like, all right.
This movie is long too.
Yes, it is very long. So the first 2 hours of the film is just them building up to getting the Avengers together. Once you get the Avengers like on the helicarrier, and then they, from then on, like, and then they come together as a team, that's when it shines. But like everything before that, I don't hate, but it's just kind of like, all right, I'm just waiting to get to the point where
once Loki comes onto the helicarrier, that movie starts.
That's when the movie starts.
Yeah.
And every time I watch the movie, I am shocked anew at how long it takes to get to that point, because it is a long time.
I think it's slightly earlier. I think it's when Cap confronts Loki is when that movie really because that's when Iron Man flows in and lands next to Cap, and then they have to hold the whole argument, and then Iron Man fights Thor, and you actually start getting Avengers interactions. That's when that movie gets my juices going.
But there's so much stuff like we're underground, and it's S.H.I.E.L.D., and there's a Tesseract, and those things are necessary. But man, watching it again, you're like, can we
yeah.
So what were our grades on that? What did we say? Is it?
I think everyone was an A. Brody was a slight A to B.
I was like a high B, low A. So I think both me and Brody probably end up skewing it into A.
Yeah. And I like it next to Iron Man.
That's true. I do think it matters a lot. Like, grading this film, you're almost more grading the concept than the movie itself, to be honest.
And honestly, the execution of that concept.
Yeah, it matters.
Because
it does.
Because I mean, the thing is, like, all those first, Phase films could have been great, but then this just could have been just a giant booger, and nobody would have cared. It could have just fallen flat.
It's never really done to this level before.
No. Yeah. No, especially, you had, 4 movies leading up to it.
It took things to a new world, which brings us to a dark world.
No, is that the next one?
No, it doesn't. No.
Oh, Iron Man 3. Sorry,
that was a good segue though. Save it for
you know what? We're just gonna bucket, and we're going to rate Dark World first.
Okay, Thor. All right,
sure.
It really doesn't make a difference.
F.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm at a D, and I rewatched it recently, and somehow I did not hate that movie. First time I watched it, I hated that movie. And I watched it again, and Hannah and I looked at each other, and I was like, that was just fine. And I think it was all Loki and Thor. That's it. Nothing else of what's going on. But yeah, I'm like D. And I'm not saying good things about it. I definitely
you know what? Honestly, Colton, I think you've changed my mind. That's an F. That's an F. I'm sorry. I hate that film. I cannot stand that film. I enjoy Loki more in this one than I do first one. I really like the scene where he breaks down the illusion, and you see what his cell really looks like after.
He's actually Loki in that film.
Yeah, I really like that. But honestly, like, that's just one little golden piece on a big pile of doo-doo that I just don't like everything else around.
Malekith sucked.
Yeah, the whole elf plot line was just weird. It felt like you were doing other stuff, and then it's like, oh yeah, there's elves. We got to.
And then there's like the weird like jealousy subplot with like Lady Sif.
Also, Loki somehow took over Odin. We never learned how. Still, how did you? Because that's Odin. That's not. It's not some dude. And he was like, haha, now he's on Earth powerless. How'd you do that? But yeah, I mean, I know it's going in the dumpster, but I'm. Yeah. I mean, look at what we have right now. Like what I'd probably watch that movie before I watch Hulk. So I mean, I'd be fine with an E, but yeah. I mean, and also, Endgame and Infinity War makes that movie more relevant, which is kind of cool. But
what about you, Brody?
It's an F. It's the worst.
All right.
The human characters were somehow worse in this one than the first Thor, I think. I even forgot the doctor scientist who's loony going around.
Oh yeah, he's got
Selvig.
And yes. Kat Dennings was especially annoying in this movie.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Like
she also
there-
had like a boyfriend character to play off of,
Mhm.
which didn't help things at all.
Mm-mm.
there's no reason for them to be in it. No reason for
Mm-mm.
Natalie to be in this except need her, I guess, for love story. I do wish this is like the last time we've seen Sif and the Fandral and the other characters. I do like we
Oh.
get to see him.
Are
'Cause they're
those
in
like
Ragnarok for,
Thor's
like, a second.
like friends with
Yeah.
fencing
Mhm.
swords and stuff? Yeah, I like them too, and I was like, it'd be cool to see them again. But I
Loki's
guess
still
they're all
great
dead, right?
Well, you see them all in Ragnarok.
for a second.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Sif
see
did
them.
not die.
Sif wasn't
Sif
there.
did.
Sif's coming back.
Yeah, Sif will come back.
They'll
And
all
I'm
be
not just
back.
talking about the Loki illusion. She is fine, and she
Yeah,
was in
Sif's good.
She-
The other
she was
ones
in,
aren't, I'm pretty sure, right? They're gone, right?
Yeah, all of them died.
Yeah,
she
yeah,
was
yeah.
in Agents of Shield too, which I can't remember storyline wise if that's before or after Ragnarok, but either way, she was in Agents of Shield.
But yeah, the Loki parts are still good. Malekith, I don't care. He's probably one of the worst. So
So it was a bunch of Fs, and then who didn't say F? Colton, you didn't say F.
Colton said D.
I said D, but I'm very fine with it being.
I'd
an
probably
F.
put it
I'm
in
just letting you
E.
know, I watched it and I didn't hate it as much.
But I don't think we can overpower it. But I am going to move Hulk further down in F than Thor: Dark World.
Thank you.
Right.
I do appreciate that.
That works.
And I do agree. I feel like
Iron Fist, please.
Right, we
Anyways.
need to relieve room for Iron Fist.
I forgot we were doing those, so we're gonna have to remember. I don't know.
Yeah,
where
someone's
those
gonna
are.
have. I don't know when the dates
Oh,
are. I think they're
no.
right now. Actually, I think they're after Avengers.
I think they're.
Hang on.
Well, I don't
Well,
mind
they talk
going
about
through
New York.
I don't mind going through the movies and then
Okay,
hit
The shows after.
that's fine.
You know,
Yeah, that makes it
That's
easy.
fine.
Okay.
So what was after Dark World? Iron Man.
before Dark. No, well, before Dark was Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3.
The Christmas special.
So pre-stream, I said I rewatched one film in preparation for this, and it was today. I rewatched Iron Man 3.
Did it put you in the Christmas spirit?
Yeah,
And,
Christmas in August.
And yeah, when I watched this movie originally, I did not like it. Upon rewatching this movie, I think this movie is high D, low C for me. I rewatched it and I didn't hate it with a fiery passion like I did. I watched it and I was like, you know what? This is whatever. Like I could, I probably won't seek it out again, but like I'm not, gonna throw in the dumpster or anything.
The last time I watched it was before Endgame, when I was going through rewatching everything, and I had a very similar experience where I think it was also, me, you, and Colton went and saw Iron Man 2, Avengers, and then it was Iron Man 3.
It was a marathon.
So it was a marathon, and like it just, I think it just felt. Yeah.
No.
Yes. So it was. I think
So
it was
that's
just,
why you guys all hated this movie, because you were
Well,
sick of
no,
watching movies.
I don't think I've ever been more excited for a movie.
I was gonna say. That was next. I was gonna say is me and Colton also watched they did like an animated Extremis motion comic, right? Wasn't it?
Mhm.
That was really good and did
All about the
Extremis.
trailers.
And
Really
it did Extremis way better than what they did in the movie.
That is why, I will say this movie has some faults to it, and Extremis just making them magma men, I did not care for.
And I'm sorry if you don't like Whiplash, but you like Aldrich. What's his name?
Killian.
Killian.
Oh, I don't like him either.
I'm just saying, the villain, and then he's going around, and it turns into Spy Kids meets Beverly Hills Cop during Christmas, and it came out in May, and okay, and then the suits are made out of paper.
Yeah.
Chris just said, remember, mathematically, it makes no sense that Iron Man's armor melted like butter. And that was a huge complaint I had with this movie. He sends out all those different Iron Man suits, and they're like getting hit by a car, and then they break. They're broken.
The car was
put together. That one's put together by magnets. And
that was the other one.
All the Iron Man suits were trash. They were all garbage. I know they didn't have people in them.
The other ones, they were melting through, and they actively said, "Hey, my hand's 3,000 degrees," and that barely melts steel.
Yeah, the melting point of steel. Yeah.
And it's not, and Iron Man's clearly superior. It was just
how hot do you think an arc reactor is?
I don't care.
25.
I'm
I think
just
the science behind these suits pretty much went out the window
Correct.
since the one he made in the
Correct.
bunker.
And my thing is,
yeah, yeah, I was like, Brody, what are you putting this at?
I would rate it a C plus, above Iron Man 2. I do like it more than Iron Man 2. The villain is, again, it's whatever, and I don't understand the Pepper thing with extremists. Like, okay,
correct. Hey, you know what would have been cool was if maybe she like couldn't get the extremis out, and like she had to have like an arc reactor or something inside of her, so she understood Tony, and like you could use the rescue armor, and you could have done some cooler things there.
Yeah.
It would also be nice if they set up Age of Ultron.
Which they, yeah, they
that's
very
a
well.
fact. That's a big thing about this movie, and that's not the movie's fault.
That's Age of Ultron's fault, but
Also, it's this movie's fault of also at the end of this movie he throws away the arc reactor and is like, I'm kind of done. And then the next movie he's like, no, I'm not done.
Which it becomes a theme, obviously.
It does,
right.
yes.
But it just.
Was his contract up at the end of Iron Man 3 originally?
I think there was. Yes,
Is that why?
it was.
Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense.
Because that was when he then made the deal where he got all that money. He got a percentage of every movie, and like
I'm giving it an E.
All right, so we got an E, and what else did we have?
I would give it a D.
Okay.
I watch this movie every Christmas, and I never enjoy it. I'm just like, it's the Marvel Christmas.
I wish they did a little bit better job of this. I enjoy the PTSD he has. I don't know if you guys, how you feel about that.
I think they
post
did it.
New York
Like
going
that.
into space.
I like that.
And I do like what they did with that Mandarin at the time.
Right. There's a lot of scenes I like his house getting bombed, when he's saving the airplane and stuff. There's a lot of scenes like I enjoy watching. There's just stuff that they don't continue on in any other movie or it makes sense. So it does drag it down. There's not enough payoff.
When his house was getting bombed, if he was like, hey, what about that house party protocol?
Right.
I also like
It does say it's not ready yet.
You got
I will say I think the main reason rewatching this movie is like I think I just liked seeing Iron Man act smart without a suit. You know,
like he did in the first one.
Yeah, I like him, being able to make do with his intelligence, and that's it. Because most other times, like him showing off his smarts is just gobbledygook, like him just clacking on a keyboard. He's like, I'm in. And, he's just doing magic at that point, because he's not doing any smart things. But like him microwaving the dog tags while popping open the gas can to blow up the magma lady. Like, I was like, okay, that's fun. I like that. I like seeing Tony Stark be smart. Bombs. Do what?
The glove.
He made a bunch like the little like hot
gun
and the Christmas bombs and a taser glove, and then he's got a Dora the Explorer watch he really likes or something, or I don't know.
But I know you keep saying that's Beverly Hills Cop, but I'm with Drake on this. I like seeing him be scrappy because that's what he was in the first movie. He's like, hey, we're in this cave. What can we make?
I think they could have done it in a less hokey way.
Yeah, I will say a lot of this humor on the second time around fell pretty flat.
Also, the child, this has nothing to do with the movie. I just hate his face. I hate him in Jurassic World. I really wanted him to get ripped apart in Jurassic World.
He's your Natalie Portman.
Oh yeah, I hate that kid. Yeah, and if he becomes Iron Lad, that's when I'm out. No, I'm
all right, I need some letters, gentlemen. I need some letters.
I think we gave letter. Brody, did you give a letter?
Yeah, me and Josh, I think. Well, I don't know. I was C.
I was C as well.
Oh, so we got 2 C's, what, a D and an E? Is that right?
Yes.
And then whatever you say.
I feel like I would, I'm like, I don't think this movie is substantially worse than Iron Man 2. And I think there are certain things about this movie that I like a lot more than Iron Man 2. So I could not put it higher than a C. I'm probably like CD 2. So if we have C, C, D, and E, and I'm like kind of C-ish, D-ish, what does that put?
I guess maybe like a high D.
We'll put it in
Above
between C and D. We're just not being decisive at all.
Can we move Thor down and put?
We're gonna have to. We'll move Thor down a little bit. It's more of a framework.
It's a moving concept.
All right.
So
Who's
after
next?
that, we get Captain America: The Winter Soldier,
Ooh.
which I know we've talked about this before. Like, I know for me, like Iron Man 3 and then Thor: Dark World was like kind of that thing of like, what is MCU kind of?
Yep. Is this trash now?
And then Captain America: Winter Soldier comes out, and you're going, no,
Yep.
it's S for me. It's probably it's in my top.
I think that's an S for me too, probably. I think it's
agreed.
It's just does so much with also so little because the scope I would say it's grand for pretty much any other film, but also it's just small. It's not world ending or anything like that, but it's just nice and clean. It's like a neat little spy flick.
Ties into everything perfectly, and it's like a Jason Bourne movie, and this is where these movies start to get almost subgenres of superhero.
100%.
Yeah, it kind of is. You're right.
It absolutely, from this point on, it pretty much is just each movie is its own thing, but in the same universe. It's such a good movie. Like, they explain so well of, like, you've established this universe where there's other people. It's like, why didn't Cap call these people? It's like, no, this is it did everything so well. The character development, this is where you get Falcon comes in.
I'd probably say Black Widow is probably the favorite. She's probably my favorite Black Widow film, or at least the film that she's in, is this one because of her interaction with Cap. And frankly, I would have much rather seen a romance between those two if they had to do a Black Widow romance rather than Hulk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I know this is a different thing, and this just came out, but like the characterization of Black Widow in this movie, it's interesting because I feel like this was almost as much of a Black Widow movie as the Black Widow movie that just came out.
Because she's a spy, and this is a spy movie. Like, it was like her in her element, and it was just very well portrayed.
You get to see Captain America's fortitude of being like, no, that's not right.
Yeah, you get to see him being Cap.
Yeah.
Just like
you get to see him being Superman. Excuse me.
Correct. And like, if I have to do this by myself, fine.
Yeah. Right.
Elevator scene. One of the coolest ones.
The elevator scene.
Oh yeah, this is also a Russo movie, which those boys, man.
Yeah, this is the first one that
they can raise my firstborn. That's fine. I trust them.
I think the comedy works here. Nothing seems like forced, corny dialogue. Everything that they go for humor works. This film is brutal. Doing the elevator scene, him running, like slamming a shield into a wall, chasing after Bucky. The whole Sam Jackson car scene chase, like it's
the verse scene with him on the ship too, where he's just going. He kicked that dude's spine and then he went to the water. That man drowned because he couldn't go anywhere.
That man got obliterated.
Yeah.
I feel like this was the realization of Captain America. And yes, there was some of that in the Avengers, but also in the Avengers, he looked like a circus performer because his costume was terrible. And I know that shouldn't really matter, but in this movie, he's Cap.
In the first two, he's very much he's being like, I'm Captain America, and in this movie he's like, no, he's a soldier. He's like a little more modern. Yeah, they let him be funny, which he can be funny in like a good way. On your left, like it's just
this movie's just cool. Like, it's just a cool flick. Like, just cool stuff happens in that movie. I will say the only kind of dorky thing is I don't like the Bugs Bunny tunnels that they use with a little laser.
Oh yeah,
I think that's a little silly. That's a little silly to me, but like that whole Nick Cage trapped in his car while the Hydra agents are zoning in on him, like that whole scene was incredible right up until he Bugs Bunny out of there.
When injured Nick Fury went down his Bugs Bunny hole, why didn't the Winter Soldier just go, well, if he's down there, there's like probably only one of two ways he can go, and I could probably see him with a flashlight.
For the same reason, the Flash never chases a bad guy, and bad guys run away from the Flash for that reason.
I don't think Winter Soldier was there when he was trapped in his car, was he?
Yeah, he showed up and he looked at it, and then he turned around and walked away.
He's the one that gets it to blow up, and
he goes to look in the car. He's like, guess he got away.
Guess he's gone.
Winter Soldier don't do holes, guys. All right, if he sees a hole, you can't do it.
All right, what came next?
After that was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians
of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
Kevin,
this is like
Kevin said one of his favorite movies, and also the Russo brothers raising my first child, A tier.
Yeah, but I can't figure. Oh no, I think he meant a new like above S. The Russo brothers raising your child. How many films make that happen?
Anyway, Guardians. I think that's a solid A for me, probably.
A.
Yeah, I'd put that in A.
That's just a good.
It's a fun. Yeah, you get
It's
like
delightful.
The science.
It's delightful.
Sci-fi.
I went in just being like, and I was like, oh wow. And
Yeah, which was cool because it was similar to Iron Man, and like, well, with Iron Man, you're like, I saw this guy, I've heard of this guy, but who cares?
No,
I've never heard of these guys.
Nobody cared about the Guardians,
but now I do, and they did a really good job.
And it's funny. It's got heart. Like the whole stuff with his mom. Like it's just all. Like you're not expecting to cry in that movie, but you kind of
really
do.
like the visuals too. Also, even though Thanos was under a black light, apparently, still very, very good movie.
I will say the only thing that kind of hamstrings this movie for me is it suffers from boring villain syndrome, and the fact that Ronan is just not interesting to me. Like he's just like you threw some powder on him, and like he's a religious zealot, and it's like, okay, that's a cool angle, but we also just don't know anything else about him or care.
I think that's fine because for me, it was more of the villainous threat of the Infinity Stones than it was Ronan. I know he was the villain, but I think it finally was like, oh, people are using Infinity Stones now, and that's what they can do. And that mattered to me.
Also, to be honest, I mean, that's kind of an MCU thing in general. These movies, for the most part, do not concern themselves with trying to make the villain interesting. Like, they kind of don't do that.
Yeah. Black Panther, though. We'll get there.
Yeah. Brody, did you give a...
Yeah, I said A.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess that's my thing is because, like, you know, I guess I'm one of those people that very much kind of like, you know, one of the metrics is of like how much I like a superhero is like how interesting their villains are and how they interact with that villain. And so, like, when you give me like Ronan, I'm just like, you know, it's like whatever. But yeah, I'm not saying that they're, you know, I just like remarking on villains just because I like villains in comic books. They're usually more so my favorite, you know, characters that I like more than the protagonists often than not. So that's one of the things I kind of look for in comic book movies. And often than not, like, yeah, most of the MCU villains, it's either just like, hey, this is the protagonist, but bad. And Ronan wasn't that, but he was still just kind of boring. I didn't really care.
Yeah, but that hammer, cool.
That was a cool hammer.
It was pretty cool.
There are very few actual well-rounded character villains,
sure,
especially early in the series.
Yeah,
and
we'll wait till
they
Guardians
actually developed Ronan pretty well when they showed that he needed full body gold bond for his
yeah, I feel that pain, my man.
He needed BC.
He's got some chafing going on. Okay. Speaking of BC powder,
what time is it? We do need we've been doing this for a while. We got to mention them again. Tastes. It tastes.
It tastes. BC powder has a flavor.
But Guardians also, I just made a connection. This may have been, I think this may have been the start of something that I really liked that I'm pretty much now entirely over. And Falcon Winter Soldier, I'm like, and then with Loki and Sylvie, I'm like, okay, I am done with this concept. And it's the concept of people who are clearly on the same side fighting for the same thing, bickering with each other for stupid reasons. And like in this movie, it was charming and delightful. I am now over that as a concept. I don't ever want to see that again.
I thought you were going to say them using licensed like 70s and 80s music.
Hey, you guys want to see Suicide Squad? All right, what's after Guardians?
After Guardians, we get Avengers Age of Ultron.
Wait, I did S?
Who said S?
Well,
oh no, I put it in the wrong one. It was supposed to be A for sure.
Oh, okay.
I just bunged it up.
I thought you were saying Age of Ultron is an S.
Oh no.
I was gonna have some words.
Good eye though. And again, Guardians is great. It's very delightful, but it's not. You know, it ain't an S. It's extremely enjoyable.
I want to start for Age of Ultron. I actually really, really like this movie, but it gets a full letter grade demotion because of Black Widow getting kidnapped. So I'm giving it a C. I would normally give it a B because I like a lot of things in it. I really do, but I'm giving it a C.
I give this movie a D. I do not like this film one bit. I honestly, I might just give it an E just because he's empty right now. I know it's D. I just did not care for this upon first viewing, and I still don't care for it.
Cole, what was your grade?
I gave it a C.
Okay. Go ahead.
I would also give it a C. I think it's got some really good action in it at some points. The story gets a little at some points, but you do get some cool action that I enjoy. You do in this one get that Cap for some reason has the magnet in the shield, and then that's never a thing again. But other than that, yeah, I'd give it a C.
All right, Brody.
I would go B. This is the last movie where I've enjoyed Hulk being in it. The Hulkbuster fight, I remember that trailer shot where we see him, and it's like that got me hyped to see this movie.
I remember thinking I was like, oh, they just showed us the end of the movie. No, they showed us like 30 minutes in. The party scene. It's one of my favorite scenes of all the Avengers interacting. This movie set up like Civil War and stuff a lot, which I think a lot of people say this movie felt more like a setup for future movies and really telling its own story. The scene where they're arguing on the farm is great. Where he just rips the log in half.
I remember when that was a San Diego Comic-Con scene.
I think so.
And I remember, it was me, you, and Colton, and I remember watching that scene and things happened.
I had to go to the bathroom.
Things happened to me because just when he just,
there's still a lot of kind of like picture shots of the circle camera pan around, or when they're all that's like slow-mo in the beginning where they like pause for a second.
Yeah, you get the action shot in early. You get it out of the
some
way.
good team banter, like language. It is worse than the Avengers because like Ultron is not great. He's kind of goofy and he shouldn't be. We do get Vision. I do like Vision. Scarlet Witch was cool. I can watch this movie anytime. I know it has its problems, but it's fine.
For what Chris said, yes, at one point.
Important note.
He does. I have at my office at work, I have a picture of Cap with holding Ultron, and it says, "If you ever feel dumb, just remember that Cap tried to strangle a robot."
So he like put him in a choke hold.
He puts him in a choke hold, which
I was hoping you
which, you control the head. I guess that works for a robot too. You try to control the head.
But also, you're trying to restrain a robot that can very clearly chuck you halfway across the city. Like, you don't think he's going to be like, I can't move now. Like,
right. Also, a robot that can at any point put his consciousness into any of the other robots. So,
or also a robot that can fly. Like,
yes,
I'm sorry, restraining somebody on the ground doesn't work for flying beings.
Yeah, like, he choked a robot. It happened.
I kind of did like Ultron as a character, and I thought it was cool how the whole Jarvis, like, I don't know if Vision is Jarvis in the comic. I don't know anything about that, but I thought it was really cool that Jarvis like is Vision, because Jarvis kind of was a character, and like that was just really cool. And clearly, what's his name, Paul Bettany, like that guy, killer. So I thought that was cool, and I thought Ultron as like a little bit of that plus, I don't know.
I will say in my rewatch of Iron Man 3, seeing Jarvis kind of fully more form into Vision, because he's definitely starting to become his own entity, very much so in Iron Man 3, and then it kind of gets fully realized with Vision.
There's a lot of like I just can't understand in the writers' room where we're like, and then Black Widow gets kidnapped and it doesn't matter. Okay. Moving on.
That's very dumb.
Knowing things about people now, I think we understand why that happened. But we understand why, but it's just it didn't need to happen.
I thought the movie was enjoyable. I thought the villain was decently enjoyable. It was definitely not as good as the first Avengers.
I'm willing to.
Where was Rhodey? Because Rhodey was at the party, right?
And me and Colton talk about this. That he comes in at the end. He comes in when they bring in the helicarrier.
Falcon
Sam should have been in that scene.
And he should have been
Falcon does is pararescue, and he was just, I'm gonna sit at home and watch TV.
Yeah, so. He was just watching it on the news, being like, "Man, that sucks."
Well, and especially because at the end of that movie, he's an Avenger. Like Sam isn't. Like he comes in at that final, which I can't think of his actual name. I mean, he talks about he didn't know that was going to happen at the end of the movie.
Mackie?
Anthony Mackie, yeah, like he didn't know, he didn't know until he watched the movie that he was an Avenger. Like they kind of just shot, they shot
what a great thing to learn.
Yeah, I guess of him just standing there. Also, Scarlet Witch looks real weird at the end of that movie.
He was just dolled up.
Yeah, like, and I can't tell if it's like, did they just CG her because she wasn't? She looks real fake at the end of that movie.
Is this the movie where they photoshopped her face in the poster, or was that Civil War? I'm dead serious.
Is it from the posters that you have? Is it at that?
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe it's Civil War.
It must be Civil War. I remember she doesn't even look anything like her. And she's like, I guess what's wrong with this?
Yeah.
I'm willing to raise mine up more to a B than if that changes anything, because I do really like it.
I just think I enjoy it more than I can watch it a lot more often than Iron Man 3, Iron Man 2.
Hey, actually, hold on now. I'm ranking it back up more. I'm just going to keep changing. I'm giving it an A now because this was Hannah and I's first date.
Oh, then it's an F now.
Oh, F all the way.
Jeez. That's where I lost my boy.
Yeah. Like I said, I can't in good conscience give anything higher than a C. I think I'm
I thought you were D and E. So we got a D, 2 B's, a C. I'm a CB. We're gonna put this.
I mean, I know
we're gonna put this one with First Avenger.
I think I'm swimming upstream on this one. So
I was gonna say if
we're putting it with First Avenger in the nether in between B and C.
If it helps going by like what it's with now, yeah, I watch Age of Ultron more than I watch First Avenger or
I like Age of Ultron better than I like First Avenger, hands down.
I would be fine with high C to B.
We're putting it in B, baby.
It was Infinity War that they altered her face.
I mean, what happened? If I'm getting outvoted here, then so be it. I will just make it known that I hate this movie. I hate Age of Ultron. I just do not like it.
But that's the asterisk that goes by.
So you like First Avenger better than Age of Ultron?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Leagues.
Cool.
I don't like their bad accents, their Sokovian accents. I just
we'll just do that.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
I just want to throw it in the ether there. I hate this one.
Noted.
We can move on.
What comes after Age of Ultron?
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man's fun. Ant-Man's fine. Ant-Man gets a B.
Ant-Man gets a C for me.
Ant-Man gets an E.
Oh, really? You just didn't like Ant-Man.
You know what? I think I would probably be willing to give it more a D or an E for me. That's another boring ass film for me. And you want to talk about some milquetoast villain? Like, I'm sorry, bald white man number 37 in suit. Like, I don't
insane
suit.
Yeah.
I'm an E.
Right.
I would say D to E. I think I like this movie more than the original.
I could probably give it a D. The only saving grace is Michael Pena's flashback or voiceover sequences.
Yes.
And I like that again. Subgenres like Ant-Man and Ant-Man and Wasp, and it leads into Endgame. Like when he's involved, it's a heist, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Like this is a heist movie, but I
could probably go D or E with this one.
All right. We're going down.
I feel like maybe E. Let's just fill that hole.
All right, Brody. What do you got, Brody?
See, I just don't know if it's worse than the first Thor. I would say D. Honestly.
Okay. Well, when I said it was a B, I looked and I cannot, in good conscience, say a B if Iron Man 2 and 3 are a C. So for me, it's like a C at best.
I agree with Brody that I enjoy that movie more than Thor. But yeah.
How about that?
There we go.
Yeah, Thor's like a D minus, Ant-Man's like a D plus.
Right.
Just make Thor an E. Just make it an E.
Honestly, I'm finally moving Thor to an E. Honestly,
we're not moving Thor just because the bars are only a certain width. That's a bad.
No.
But like actually, like looking at them, if we're doing a tier,
the more I contextualize what a D should be and what an E should be, then like
Thor's an E.
I would say Thor's an E. Like looking at that list. I mean that's 2 against 3, but maybe.
Well, let's let it fill out some more because I am uncomfortable with Thor and Ant-Man being in the same one.
Are you guys still fine with Iron Man being that high?
Original
I still
Iron
think
Man?
it's slightly too high.
Iron Man 1?
I think it's.
I'll move it up.
I was gonna say I might rearrange A tier a little bit. Not that the rank and the tier matters, but then no, like I think I liked Iron Man.
Yeah, I still like it up
Wow.
I would probably put Guardians over Iron Man in my opinion.
I was thinking about that too, but
I just God, I love that movie so much.
Such a good movie, yeah.
And the score actually, and I know we don't talk about it, but I can even hear the when he's building his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways,
all right, what happened after Ant-Man?
Then we get Captain America: Civil War.
Captain America: Civil War.
You guys know that it's a B for me, and I'm gonna go P.
Okay.
Oh,
It's an S for me.
Yeah,
This is a tough one for me. I think this might just be a solid B movie in my opinion. For me, I think it's a nice little B.
Wow.
that's okay. I know this is Austin's favorite movie. I would go A. I just,
I'd say A too. So it's going in A.
I like all of the action. You get Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is just so right.
So right.
You might actually have to give me a minute because I actually have to start remembering what.
Yeah, you gotta remember
Civil War.
I agree with Austin. This is my favorite.
Because I remember that being a concern of like, oh, are they going to fight and then just be best friends in a week and a half? And it was years that, you know, a lot of that, and some of it was never quite fully healed. So I like that.
Also, the reason they're fighting is a reason. It's not like some arbitrary someone shot a bullet into a book.
And this is honestly the one time where, because I mean, granted, he gets expanded on later. He gets expanded. Baron Zemo gets expanded on later in Falcon Winter Soldier.
But also, I still like they did like a different thing with Zemo in this that I still really liked. Like, you know,
I was gonna say this is like the only time in which kind of a bland villain is fine with me, just because he is supposed to just be a dude. Like, he's just supposed to be a guy who knows certain things and is able to do so, like press certain buttons to get these, heroes to clash. So that's like one of the few times where it's just like, if the villain isn't the center stage or isn't anything grand, fine by me, because he's just supposed to be the guy that flicks the first little domino and then that's it.
And please understand, when I'm giving it a B, I'm comparing it to some of the movies that we're about to get to, but like, here's what I loved the flashback with Tony and his parents. Josh, I know you love I Know That Road.
I don't love that.
I thought that was your favorite thing in the MCU, actually.
How are you going to know that road and not that date? Like,
I know that
December
road.
16, 1991.
Listen, man, if you put me on the Parkway, I know that road.
Yeah. Yep. I've seen those pebbles and those pine trees.
Yeah. I know that stick.
But
I put that stick there when I was 8.
The actual fight itself was pretty underwhelming for me.
You mean the airport scene?
Yeah, I mean it was fine. That's like my big bugaboo. It just wasn't.
I would say my main thing about the airport fight is like, what a boring place to fight.
And the CG was bad.
Just a big concrete slab, no interesting structures to interact with except for Spider-Man slinking around in that one little area. But overall, I'd say overall, I'm pretty positive on the film. So like high B, A-ish is probably for me.
I think this movie's really good.
Okay, so we get Black Panther first time, amazing. Right. We get Tom Holland Spider-Man, amazing. Several great action scenes, like I can just name them off. The initial Black Panther chasing Bucky and then Cap chasing dope. Him. Fantastic.
Yeah.
When they are running, when they are
get the helicopter, which is Colton's favorite thing of any sort that has ever occurred.
Black Panther is going to kill him if he gets his hands on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but seriously though, in the airport fight, please tell me what Vision's doing.
Yeah, him and Scarlet Witch, they're both like not doing anything.
I think.
Well, he's like a pacifist. He doesn't want to fight.
Vision is trying to stay out of it. Is mainly what he's doing.
But they just drew a line. Please don't cross that line. Okay, you crossed it. Okay. Look, I don't know.
I will say that's probably the worst action scene in my opinion, but like I think I will say the other action scenes are dope enough to make up for, because like the chase scene, the end fight. I don't remember.
Also, I think a lot of them are holding back in the airport because I don't think they like
they're
actually
not
want to
actually trying to
friends.
fight each other.
Like maybe like some of them, like Iron Man and Cap, may have some resentment.
Like Vision could just murder them all. He's not going to do
them,
that.
Like Hawkeye and Black Widow and stuff, like we're not gonna like actually.
And they're just lucky that Thor's not there and
right.
he's not taking a side.
Like, Hawkeye could just murder them all, but he's not going to do that.
The emotion when Tony sees the video, it turns to Cap. It's like, did you know? Oh, gets me every time I watch. Like this movie makes me feel so many different things, and I love it. It is my favorite MCU movie.
That was hard for my mother to watch.
Yeah.
No, that is the exact date my grandfather died. Year and day. Yeah.
Dang.
And it just keeps putting that up like every like 20 minutes. December 16, 1991.
Yeah. It is an integral part.
Which again, in the movie, you're not going to recognize the road. You're going to recognize the day.
And ultimately, this movie doesn't work if the reason they're on two sides isn't, I guess, logical or makes sense. And I felt like each side had valid points going into the movie and watching the movies. Like, yeah, I could see Tony's side, I could see Cap's side.
I think
it made sense.
The only thing I wish is maybe if they had just like built up Cap's argument a little bit stronger. Not saying it's not bad. I just wanted to see it explored a little more, because we definitely kind of see the full range of Tony's side. So we know that in and out. I just would like to have seen a little bit more of Cap. So it's not saying that I don't agree with it. I just wish there was a little bit more of it. I would probably, I think I might have been, I think this is an A for me. A good solid A.
Yeah, we're definitely at A on this one.
Cool.
I think the one of the things, Tony's whole like, oh, this one kid died, and now I'm going ham about that. Like, I feel like this was the movie for me where it cemented that like Tony Stark as a character just has no clue kind of who he is or what he believes in, and it's going to change. Like, he knows he wants to be a good guy, but he doesn't like know how to do it, and whatever the circumstances are, he's like, so I think it's interesting because I think it's like a real person.
It's going to be a minute till we get to Far From Home, but it's nice when Happy just straight out said that.
Said what?
That Tony Stark was all over the place.
Yeah, but that's so cool. And again, for me, Colton, I know you've talked a lot about new stuff like the TV shows and stuff, making old movies better for you. Like for me, the whole, and I liked the Iron Man 3, the like, I'm having trouble with this because I'm a regular dude and these stakes are pretty crazy. And I'm like, I kind of like that they're going there. And I feel like his whole, like, I don't want to call it flip-floppiness, but the way he blows with the wind, I feel like is a very actually like human reaction to, and at the time I'm going, man, Tony, dude, I can't believe Tony's coming down on this side. That doesn't make sense. We need to be put in check. But like you see that he just kind of, he's like, you know what? I need to be put in check right now. So we all need to be put in check right now.
And he kind of flip-flops in the same movie.
but like I was talking to Zane the other day about a character in a show I'm watching who like does that thing. And I think this is a very human thing, which is like, I'm holding principles and standards for myself. And I also expect everyone else to meet those standards. And even though they're constantly changing for myself, I still expect them to constantly change for everyone else too, as they do with me. And I'm like, whoa, that strikes me as very human. So anyway, end of rant on that. Civil War, awesome movie in my opinion. We definitely got an A on the vote for that. What came after?
Next was Doctor Strange.
Ooh.
And I want to include 3D, please.
Yeah, it made such a difference.
Because what hurts it for me is that his origin is Iron Man's essentially.
Yeah, same movie. It's Iron Man 1.
But it was wacky enough, and the visuals were so cool. That's a B for me.
This movie was mind-blowing in 3D. I have never cared about a 3D movie. Mind-blowing.
Yeah, it actually was a movie that was kind of made for 3D, not just we put 3D on it.
Well, I think this movie is literal garbage, saved only by the Dormammu in the end conflict, which I really liked, and the visuals. Everything else I I could care less about this movie. You could strip it all away. It's incredibly boring to me. I think this is a D for me.
Have you watched it since Wanda?
No, but also like, here's my thing: is like, if I can't enjoy it on an initial viewing as a standalone film itself, like I know that these things are part of a larger thing. I know the Marvel extended universe exists, but I also just have to watch these films as films and just gauge whether or not it is a good film. And like Benedict Cumberbatch, I enjoy as an actor. Rachel McAdams, I enjoy as an actor. And you have Mads Mikkelsen in your film, and he is just wet trash in that movie. He does nothing throughout the entirety of that movie besides have glowy eyes and run on walls. It's just...
I disagree. I don't think I view these standalone as just single movies. I think they all absolutely support each other, and that does matter in this instance. And a lot of times they don't, but I feel like this is one of the few times it's meant for that.
But it also should be a good movie in and of itself. It should.
I guess
Drake just doesn't think it was.
I think I guess it should ask, what about Wanda elevates this?
When you start actually, because when you watch it and they start jibber jabbing about magic, I remember like being like, okay, sure, okay. But then Wanda helps add a lot more context into multiverse, what he's actually doing, and world building that the Marvel, like, they haven't really actually touched on the magic side to that point. And it opened up another door like Guardians did. Whereas Guardians opened up like going from interplanetary, this opened up multiverse / like pulling energy from the multiverse. That's literally what they describe Doctor Strange's powers as. And it's like, okay, and this is where this actually started and will come into play. And
yeah, I just like, you can introduce those things, but if you don't make them interesting or make me care about them, then it's to a point where I'm not. The movie didn't make me buy enough into what it was selling especially on the initial viewing, that I do not like this film.
I think it made me buy a little bit of something, which is like, I think, and again, seeing it in 3D, it's weird because you go, well, that shouldn't matter. I think what the reason I like this movie is because it like made me feel like a kid. It captured my imagination. I can't think of a time where I've seen like the idea of magic really expressed in a way or in a context that felt like I would really like to see the concept of magic utilized in this way. So yeah, story-wise, it's just Iron Man 1 again. It totally is. And it's not super interesting. Bad Guy's not super interesting. But the movie like captured my imagination, and I like that. I like the experience of seeing these things, and it's like, oh, this is cool. And then when you put that concept in the same world as a Tony Stark or whatever, I'm like, oh, I just, and this sounds so stupid, I kind of thought it was cool.
I can understand that. I guess I know this is a vacuum for Marvel films, and we shouldn't compare them to outside films. But like the closest thing I can relate my Doctor Strange experience to is Avatar, and the fact that like that is a gorgeous looking film with a bunch of characters and a plot that I do not care about.
I understand that comparison very well.
What's going on in Marvel now? What's going on with Marvel now? I very much do care about it. And also, like, as we continued and we saw, like, okay, so these magic people have been here. They're protecting these things that are in place and making sure, they're almost like a little mini TVA. They're doing this, and then the Avengers actually handle, the big explodey things, and then they got to come together when those things come together, like magic and saying too much. But yeah, I think it did a lot of world building that it does not get credit for.
Sorry, I don't think we've heard from Brody
and Steven. Yeah,
Brody, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you finish.
Sorry, I just have some
I'll be
feelings
quick.
about that film.
I've seen this movie twice, and I could not tell you what happens in it. I could tell you like how he started out as like a doctor, and he's very Tony Stark like in the beginning, and he has to learn some lessons along the way. Like when they start going to different places and like the magic parts, like I couldn't tell you right now if my life depended on it, what was happening. I would have to watch it again. And I'm sure, I don't know how well the movie does explain it, other than magic. But no, I do like Benedict Cumberbatch in the role. I'm excited for where it goes. I'm really excited for a Multiverse of Madness coming out. But like as it stands, I think it's an average MCU movie, like C.
Cool.
Like I enjoyed watching it, but I couldn't tell you what happens in it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm about the same. Like I'm like really torn in the middle of. I think it set up a lot. I enjoyed Benedict Cumberbatch. I like Doctor Strange just in general. And I think Multiverse of Madness is going to be dope. But I'm just trying to look at like what I like as far as like the movies I watch. You know, there's lots of movies I watch a lot and just will put on, and this is not really one of them. I mean, I do agree that it is made better by Wanda and what's going on in Wanda and the magic and everything like that. So I'm probably at about a C, I think is where I'm at.
You just touched on something so key, and I feel like this is an MCU thing in general, which is the character is much more interesting than the movie. That happens a lot, which is weird, but it's one of the things you do. If you think of a traditional television show, and I hate to say this, but let's take like Law and Order, where there's
SVU, criminal intent, or regular.
We're going to take SVU because they did it a little more.
Okay, I
the regular one flirted with it, like, oh, Jerry Orbach has a son. Who cares, dude? But it's like they're telling individual stories, and those stories really, as Josh was saying, should be interesting and self-contained, but also you're getting to learn a little bit about the characters. And I pick Law and Order because most shows don't have that separation where this is both a complete story, but also there's these characters. And it's like sometimes there's bad episodes of the show, you know what I mean? And it's interesting because I feel like by and large, and this is coming up over and over, like the characters are more interesting than a lot of the movies that made them. And it's because you get to see them grow and change over time in a similar way to a TV show, which is interesting that they're now doing the TV shows. So yeah. Anyway, what came after? I
enjoy Infinity War and Ragnarok Doctor Strange way more than Doctor Strange. You know, I like him in those roles in those films a lot more just because I like what he's doing in those films. I mean, then again, I also haven't seen Doctor Strange in a while. So
couldn't tell you what happens for like an hour and a half of that movie. Like it's 2 hours, 10 minutes, and I don't know what happens in that time.
When was the last time y'all seen him?
I've watched that film once.
On release, which was would they come out 2016?
It was
probably
2016.
And then probably again like 2018.
Give it a whirl.
So yeah, if we're going next in line,
and this is the only movie that they've really dealt with magic too. Like yeah, Wanda did right, but this is the only movie that we've seen magic so far, besides when he appears in
the introduction of it.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's not like Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme yet. He's like,
right.
What am I can make a rope, but you know he's got to deal with a lot that's going on. But yeah.
There's others that like touch on magic, but this is the one that like we're doing magic. Josh, next is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Cool.
If no one's going to go first, I'll just throw this out. This is probably one of my S's.
Oh,
I love it. I mean, I see a lot of people complaining that's just more Guardians, but I mean
it is
fine.
But that's good.
I see people complaining that it's just more like it's trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy 1, which I think I don't agree on because frankly, Ego. I know I keep harping on villains, but Ego is probably one of my favorite MCU villains. He is fantastic. Really, the whole message of fatherhood in that film and like what it means, although I think it kind of comes in a little late for my liking, but also just kind of like the grappling with like the message of kind of like toxic masculinity that Peter Quill has to face throughout that movie and how that comes. It's just chef's kiss. I love
Are you saying that those movies are about family?
It's about family.
But also, I was joking, but also they are. I mean, the first movie is definitely about his mom. The second movie is definitely about his dad. The third movie will be about his family.
The first movie is finding that family. The second movie is like how
do I keep this
how
family?
Does that work? How is that interplay? Like,
that third movie ain't gonna be about Star-Lord. It's gonna be about Rocket. I'm telling you right now. But I am in a low S, high A for this one. Low S, high A. I think the movie moves really fast, and what's happening isn't super important. I think it will be later. But the all the interactions with Rocket, Yondu. I mean, everything they did to build the characters in that movie made me care even more, and I just really like that movie. And it's really, again, I know Groot died and people say he didn't, but yeah, he did. That's a different thing. Like, it's the same species, but that's not the same character, even though I know he just says I am Groot, but seriously. Anyways, really like it. Low S, high A.
So we are currently right on that cusp because Drake was S, Colton's SA, and I'm a solid A on this one. So Steven and Brody, it's kind of ball in your court.
Yeah, I could go either way. I mean, because it's again, it is Guardians. It's everything I loved about Guardians. It's the heart. It's the fun. It's the emotional connection to those characters and to the movie. It's got good music. It's just man, I'm a high A to S as well.
All right, Brody.
Yeah,
Brody's like it's a D. Oh, really? All right, so it looks like it's going to be an A at best. What do you got,
I
Brody?
would go as high as a B, and that's being generous. I like the message of the story they're trying to tell, but I think he turned a comedy that was already very prevalent in Guardians of the Galaxy and turned it up a couple notches. And a lot of the stuff, I just eye roll. Drax, I think, is the biggest problem with that. Like, I think he's too goofy now. Like, he is goofy in his own way in the first one, but now he's like almost a comedian.
He was actor. He's happier.
Honestly, like, Drax's character change, I think, is probably one of my favorite parts, because like when I talk about like Peter Quill like facing this own like idea of like masculinity and what he thinks a man should be is just completely torn down by Drax, because Peter Quill is like, you don't tell me about like your parents getting together and stuff like that. Drax is like, why not? Like, it's a beautiful thing. And he explores, like, he very much openly says like, yes, the love for my wife and things like that. And the fact that he doesn't have any of those barriers that like a human man like Peter Quill would have, that he just puts it all out in the open, is like a perfect foil to what Quill is going through, and the idea that he needs to have a man in his life in order to act like a man, kind of thing.
And remember when Mantis touched him when he was like remembering his dead family, and she was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, and like, but also like that same scene, it's like the whole like when she's touching Star-Lord, and then he starts cracking out because he realizes him and Gamora, like he likes Gamora or something.
That's not the same scene.
Well,
I'm talking about when they're looking over at the mountain. No, right. I understand what you're saying, but yeah.
Like, he's the literal man. Like, he takes everything literally.
Hold on, real quick, Josh. You do know that Vin Diesel is the voice of Groot, correct?
Oh, there it is. Yes, I did know that. I just I was thinking of the image of Vin. Anyway,
sorry.
Back to yes.
So like in the first one, he like takes everything literally, and like he's the literal man. And in this one, I feel like they played it more for what kind of jokes can we make with Drax about taking things literally. And I just didn't like him as much in the first one. Baby Groot versus regular Groot. Parts are cute. I just think like there's too much comedy. And the first one was like a perfect balance, and this one I just think like it's too silly for me.
I can see that.
Oh, yeah, I can understand that, especially with the Drax thing, because Drax did become straight up like, a sillier, also, goofier joke character. He did.
I really like this scene too, but like Mary Poppins, y'all, like he went really hard on the comedy. A lot of it.
Yeah, but he may have been your father, but he ain't your daddy.
I think the thing that like I actually really like the Mary Poppins scene, because A, not only is it funny, but B, also the fact that Peter Quill states that like, hi, you look like Mary Poppins, and the first thing Yondu wants to know is this guy cool?
Is
Is
he
this
cool?
somebody
Okay,
that you
that's-
is this
yeah.
somebody that you look up to? Is this something that's good in your eyes? And then Peter Quill says, yeah, he's cool. He initially thinks it's funny because he doesn't know who Mary Poppins is, but then immediately first thing Yondu says is, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all, pretty much saying that, like, that's right, I'm cool in Peter Quill's eyes, like,
But then also
I'm his dad.
And then for me, it's the next scene or the next shot of Quill like seeing how happy Yondu is to like look cool, and he has that like that look of like he's happy that Yondu is happy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
I changed my mind. It's an S for me. There we go. I know it's not going to affect anything, but for the record, it's an S.
Yeah.
So it lands at an A, right? Because
I think it lands at an A.
Also, if anybody wants to get their opinion changed to an S, watch Lindsay Ellis's video on Guardians of the Galaxy. She does like a really good job like nailing why I think this is one of my favorite movies.
All right.
Next up, we get Spider-Man: Homecoming.
S.
Like,
Yeah, I think this is another.
This is
good
like one of my top
high
three.
OS.
Might be my favorite one. Like
it was a nice breath of like because it was an origin, but it didn't no origin at all.
yes,
exactly what I was about to say.
we don't need the origin.
We don't need the origin.
I don't need to see Uncle Ben die again.
I get it. Uncle Ben died. Mercer, Aunt May's hotter. We got it. All right, let's go.
Iron Man sprinkled in there, just there to be enough, but like it's fine. You know what I mean? I wasn't hurt
The main thing for me is just he's Spider-Man. Like he's 100% Spider-Man,
And he's Peter Parker, which is great.
and he's Peter. Yeah,
He's
we talked
both.
about this before. You've got with the other ones. Tobey Maguire was
Tobey
definitely
Maguire, yeah.
he was Tobey Maguire. He was a good Peter Parker, and Andrew
Yep.
Garfield was a
Yep.
good Spider-Man.
Yeah,
But
this guy's everything.
But yeah, this, and also here's an idea: instead of casting a 36-year-old man, what if we cast
What if we cast a
20-year-old?
27-year-old?
I think literally in Civil War he's 19. I think
He's young enough to be believable.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were not. Like,
right. And I'm sure someone's going to tell me that they were all the same age, like when they were cast. But like he looks the most like a child.
Tobey Maguire looks like he's already has a mortgage by the time he's in.
and he's failing to pay it. He doesn't know what he's gonna do.
Also, I mean, talking about villains, Josh, Vulture is probably.
I say Kevin just said in the chat, he's like Michael Keaton kills it.
Like just
Yeah.
I love that character. I love like
yes,
you took Vulture and you're just like, oh cool, let's make this like he's from the MCU. Like it was such a good adaptation of Vulture, and I really enjoyed it.
They did get the date wrong at the start of the movie, though, right?
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah, they messed up.
What do you think, Birdie?
I would give it an A. I am judging this movie on its own, and I'm not going to lump it in with anything else because it would go down if I did, and I'll explain later. When it came out, I love this movie. Again, Michael Keaton as Vulture is great. Tom Holland, Spider-Man, great. The high school friends, I'm still iffy on, even this far in. Like I like them sometimes, and they also really annoy me sometimes. So I'm still on the fence with them.
I'm 100% with you, and I'm not going to hijack what you're about to say. But they're high school friends, so that's the one situation where it's acceptable for them to be that, as opposed to like the other goofy garbage side characters. So anyway, back to it though, because
I don't know how much I want to get into it now or save it for later. But the over reliance on Tony Stark and how he is involved in Spider-Man's like story, it's fine in this movie. We'll get on to later ones where I start having more and more problems as they keep over relying on him having like something to do with Tony Stark is something to do with Peter Parker, and he can't have its own story.
With upcoming heroes looking up to past or current heroes.
It's more about the villain angle.
Okay.
Oh,
interesting.
Tony Stark.
We can go.
The fact that like Vulture isn't even necessarily like Spider-Man's villain, but he's more so Iron Man's villain.
He has a beef with Tony Stark, or like Tony Stark did him dirty, and we'll get into later movies. It's like, oh, Tony Stark screwed me over, and you have this tech.
But they took a Vulture because Birdman, and they made him a literal Vulture where he's stealing scrap from the garbage of fights, that is an incredible idea.
Yes.
Like,
they took the
happened after
Batman and they
it's
made
done?
him a literal Batman where he hangs upside down.
And then I mean, it has great twists. Like my favorite scene in the whole movie is when they're in like he's driving them to the prom or whatever, and then there's that like click that they realize each other's identity and stuff.
So good.
I audibly gasped when he opened the door, and that was
yeah. I think that was
audibly gasped.
That's like one twist that I just completely blindsided me. And,
like I did not. Because sometimes you're like, oh, I see this, but that was like I was not expecting that at all. Also, that scene you're talking about, Brody, I do love too, because like the lighting in that scene is really cool. Like they like over like the red on his face while he's talking when it switches to green. I think it switches to green in a moment like where they're talking about. It's like when he's like Vulture. It's a really good scene.
And I do like the end battle. He's in his own like custom made suit. Mm-hmm. He's not in the Spider-Man suit for Stark made him. I do really like that. But yeah,
I would say if Into the Spider-Verse didn't exist, this would probably be my favorite Spider-Man film.
1000% agree with that statement. All right, so Brody has an A. What were the other grades that we've had so far?
Did I say anything yet?
Don't know.
Did I say S? I think I said S.
Don't know. Steven says S. Colt?
I'm high A.
Okay. A+.
I think I'm high A.
All right.
A+.
I'm gonna say S as well. So we have 2 S's, 2 A+, and an A.
So that's an A. That's
I think it's like the top of A.
Yeah, we're gonna let it rest, kind of right there.
Right there.
Yeah, just kind of right there. It'll be
we
fine.
got some bangers coming up, man.
It'll be fine.
I was gonna say like we've got some good ones because next up is
make some room.
Is Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok.
Brody, I want to hear your opinion on this movie first. I feel like I want to hear you first.
Okay. Do you though?
Yeah, that way we can just all
just say a letter. Just say a letter.
I'm
give it to us straight, Doctor. Say a letter.
Is the letter
graded
higher or lower than F?
Looking at what we graded, I would put it at B.
Okay.
That's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
I am with you.
I really liked that this movie punched me in the face. Whereas I was like, okay, here we go, another Thor movie. Like, because at the beginning of that movie, it's like not that interesting. It's like, all right, and then it just goes off the rails, and I'm like, what a pivot
for a franchise to go from the first two, which are just like the Norse god and all this stuff, to just what if it did a crazy zany buddy cop style, like just over the top Star Wars movie. But oddly enough, I'm close with Brody, and I'm like a high B. Like I really like this movie, but definitely.
What do you think, Brody? What's your B reason?
The more I find it, the more comedy better in these movies, the more I don't like them. Especially, maybe it's just me. Because I actually know the Ragnarok story, and like, how is this like the funniest Thor movie when like literally everyone gets obliterated? And Kate Blanchett's amazing. I loved her. Chris Hemsworth is really good in this. This is where I start really disliking Hulk in these movies. The Planet Hulk beginning part was fine. I don't like a very Hulk that talks a lot, and especially Professor Hulk. We'll get there. Again, they killed off his friends pretty willy-nilly. It kind of just like, it felt like Taika took whatever I guess what was established in the first couple Thor movies and kind of like not wiped all of it out, but like pretty much this is like a new clean slate to start Thor going forward. And I like Chris Hemsworth more so in this movies and Ragnarok than in the other ones. But oh god, I don't know.
You're still describing a B movie, though, which is worthy of note because the other ones.
Yeah, like Loki, he's great in all of these movies. His interaction with Thor, the music, like Zeppelin and stuff, is like it fits. The shot, like the twist where he loses his eye, and like I did like that. The scene where Odin dies and disappears, and that's when Hela shows up and like catches the hammer. Like there's so many iconic shots and moments in this. It's just I wish it was taken a little bit more, for my liking, serious. Whereas a lot of stuff I felt like was brushed off when it's like, oh, Odin just died, or like, oh, Asgard just got blown up, or oh, my best friends died.
See, this is such an interesting parallel, because I think I'm in B for the exact opposite. I wanted this movie to be 100% Planet Hulk, because the stuff happening on Asgard is what drags it down to a B for me. Because like Kate Blanchett, I like her, and I think Hel could be a cool character, but she just kind of falls flat for me. And the stuff happening on Asgard is falling flat for me. Like, I don't care about what's happening on that planet. I want to see more wild stuff. I want to see more Jeff Goldblum.
Master and what else? It's like the little Guardian Z, which is where Thor ended up drifting off to, of just like what's happening on this side of the universe. And yeah.
Surtur is the one in the beginning, right? He's not the big evil one at the end, or is he the beginning?
He's
same. Yeah, that's right.
Both.
I think this is my favorite like opening intro to any MCU movie. Like him just starting to narrate, like, "Oh, you want to know how I got here and stuff." I think this is like one of the perfect.
That might be like the one thing I don't like about this movie.
God.
Every time I rewatch it and he looks right at me and starts talking, I'm like, if we talk about like comedy falling flat, that one scene, every time I see it, like, I don't dislike it, but I'm kind of like, this is weird. And this also, it wouldn't be weird if it ever happened again, or like if it wasn't just this one thing. And given it does its job beautifully, because its job is to look you in the eye and go, hey man, remember those other movies? No, we're going to do something different.
Yeah,
great.
I just
Thank you.
want to add a note that the narration in Iron Man 3 threw me off as well.
Yeah,
but he actually just voiceover
narration. Yeah.
It starts and then Eiffel 65 starts playing.
Yes.
Oh, listen. Sorry,
Steven.
I will say also a quick Korg. Great, love Korg. Still on the fence on Valkyrie, but she's only been in really like one movie. So
I like Valkyrie.
Yeah,
Steven, what's your letter?
I'm a good B for this. I really enjoy this movie, but just putting it in between like those ones, yeah. I'm a B. I mean, if it ended up somehow an A, I wouldn't complain, but I think B is where it should be.
Yeah, I agree. We're gonna pop it down to B. And I liked this movie a lot. But at the same time, like, frankly, we're talking about the comedy. I don't know. I didn't dislike the comedy in this movie. I liked it quite a bit, but it might just be that, like, well, no, because Guardians was very comedic, and I still, anyway. It's a B.
My one complaint, and this is not a thing that can ever be fixed, is just how amazing would it have been to not know that Hulk was in that movie, and then like when that happened.
Did I know Hulk? I knew Hulk was in the movie. Yeah, he was in the preview, wasn't he?
He was in the preview, and he wasn't trailer. He wasn't in the first couple, then he was. Like there was a few that he wasn't.
How amazing would it have been to not know Doomsday was in the movie and then not have him been in the movie? That would have been sweet. All right, who came after Thor Ragnarok?
Black Panther.
But
I'd agree with that.
I'm only taking away points because I don't like I don't like the Rhino a lot.
Yeah, that last battle gets a little just like
you have the best technology on Earth. Why is it
an armored rhino?
And like, why are you using? It's a spear though, and like this is a spear that can break a tank. It's like, but you got to throw it. That was the kind of stuff that threw me off, and I understand the aesthetic and everything, but I don't know. I almost thought it was a little.
I think this movie is probably a high C, low B for me. High C, yeah.
High C Orange Blast.
If we're kind of tossing in an upper echelon of like Ego and Vulture, Killmonger is that his name?
Yeah.
Aside from the dumb name, I think he's incredible. Honestly, like. His last line in that movie is probably one of the most impactful lines I think I've heard in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That was like, I heard that and that was real. Like I felt that to my core. And I definitely, I understand the movie and I like it. It's just, once again, it's a movie where I kind of like parts of that movie, but then half of it drags it down. Like that whole final fight is mired by rhinos, and just I don't know if they were like rushing or whatever, but I recently watched that final fight and it is like
PS2.
It is 2 steps above Beast Wars. Like, it is bad looking. Like, it is just bad.
It would be much easier to count fight scenes in these movies where they were big fights, not one person versus one person or whatever. It'd be much easier to count the ones that were good because they're almost always trash. Like, oh, there's all this stuff happening. Hey, isn't this epic? And you're like, nah, man, I saw The Matrix. I saw Neo fight 40 computer animated Smiths. It's just that every time there's a big fight. The only difference I feel like was in Infinity War when you're going, oh, there's that guy, there's that guy, there's that guy. Because they've done all that work to make you go, oh, there's that guy, there's that guy. But I mean, the rhinos, what, I don't know. Was it worse than, I don't know.
Yeah, that seemed to me like a studio thing of like, we need to do a big epic battle. What if they had,
yeah, it did.
Because it just didn't really fit with the rest of the movie.
I mean, it made sense that it happened.
What bothered me is that T'Challa screamed no. Like, he was like, oh no, Rhino. Like, that's the guy was like, got up on a rock. He was like, oh, get ready for the secret Wakandan weapon. And then T'Challa goes, no.
I also think Martin
Freeman.
Martin Freeman. I was about to say Martin Short. Definitely not in that film.
Oh, that would have been a different movie.
I would have loved to have seen that. I understand that he's kind of supposed to be like our little lens of seeing into Wakanda. But frankly, he does nothing throughout that whole film. He's just there. Yeah, he shoots down a plane at the end, but like, did we really need him there to do that? Like,
yeah, he's just there.
But overall, like, I like the characters and I like the plot. Like I said, Killmonger, incredible.
Having a good bad guy for me, because again, if you look at most of the movies that are currently on the screen, not a good bad guy. This one was. So like that in and of itself, plus just Black Panther as a character.
And like Killmonger is a villain because, like, you know, ego, and like I'd say like Vulture probably ranks higher in this aspect, and the fact that like I can understand how somebody could come to that conclusion, but looking at Killmonger's like perspective and like what has happened to him, I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely see where this guy is coming from. Like,
yeah. I mean, in another world, he could be. Well, we'll see that in a couple of weeks. Like, he could be Black Panther.
And yeah, I was saying this was probably one of the times where I was pretty okay with it being the antagonist, but bad, because it is very much like they are a perfect mirror of each other and like what could have happened to one another.
Yeah.
Did we get our scores?
Let's get our letters.
Oh, I'm like high C, low B.
Yep. Cool.
I'm A.
I'm gonna go A as well. I think the movie just culturally was good. It's just everything about it I liked except for the last little bit. So I think A is appropriate.
I'll give it a B. It kind of goes back to what Josh was actually saying. The characters are great. The story in the movie itself, especially the third act, was not great for me. But like, love Killmonger, Shuri, and Baku. Claw, like, oh my god, Andy Serkis's Claw is great. For as little as he's in it.
I was bummed that he died. That was
me too.
Was sad.
Yeah.
All the characters I enjoyed watching on screen. It's just the story itself, and the third act in particular, is not great for me. But I think it's B.
The story was helped a lot for me when T'Challa screamed at his ancestors for being wrong.
I did like that.
Because it was it was a lot about tradition, and it's like, well, some of these traditions are bad.
Clearly, you're not doing the right thing. You're just doing the thing that you've done for generations. Like, leaving this kid here was clearly not the right thing to do.
Yeah, you're just doing the thing you've always done.
Right.
I also, and I almost got into this when we were talking about Ragnarok. Man, Phase 3 is so much better than all the other Marvel movies.
Yeah, they were hitting it.
But like,
Phase 3 is just, yeah.
And it might stay that way. It might be the high point. Probably not. We'll see. But I mean,
I know as far as the next one.
This is one of the. I think I've cried at a Marvel movie 3 times that I can recall, and Black Panther, and also it was a beautiful scene with the purple and the
astral plane.
Yeah. Is that? Yeah. I was looking for the where he's talking to his dad.
Yeah. with the trees, and at one point they're
I'm
actually
sitting there
camping up in the tree.
I'm sitting
Yeah.
there just weeping, and he's like, "You've been training your whole life to be king," and he's like, "No, I'm not talking about I'm not ready to be king. I'm talking about I'm not ready to live life without you." And I'm just in the theater, just destroyed. And not many Marvel movies have made me cry, and you know, that's just me. That's fine. But I'm like, okay. And on top of the fact that that character is just so good, and like,
Also, you want to talk about one of the perfect castings of
yes,
Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa.
And you know that's true because like very rarely would someone would have sit like, and they're just like, no, we're not recasting him. Yeah, of course you're not. Like, anyway,
No,
I'm an
you
A,
can't.
so we have 3 A's, a B, and a BC. What's that, a A?
Yeah, if it ends up an A, I won't be mad at it.
All right, who came next?
Infinity
Next
War.
is Infinity War.
Well, up to S it goes.
That's for me.
I was going to say, Brody?
Empire Strikes Back of Marvel.
I would say
Brody, I don't have host privileges, but I will find a way to kick you out if you don't say yes.
He doesn't need to say S. We got 4 S's. Unless he says it's like an E or something, it's an S.
My S's are just very picky. I would say it's an A plus.
Sure.
The
So it's an
very
S.
highest of A.
It's an S. Cool. The culmination of 10 years of just like everything
Honestly,
they put.
It's just for time's sake, I'll just say that you know that movie could have just gone wrong in a million different ways, but it is just an anomaly of perfect culmination of everything it needed to be. Fantastic film.
Yeah.
Thor's scene where he's just going on about all the crap that he went through in the past week and a half.
And you just named the second time Thor, the goofy character who just had the Ragnarok movie where his dad died, and I don't think they made light of his dad dying. And then in the Infinity War, Thor makes me cry, and he's sitting there and he goes, "Yep, my dad's dead, my brother's dead. What else?
And
do
my
I have
sister's
to
dead."
lose?"
Best friend just got
And
stabbed.
I'm
in the
just
chest.
like,
Mom got killed by an elf. Yep.
I just
all
couldn't
dead.
believe Thor of all the characters. I could not believe Thor made me cry, but he did.
It just hits on all these notes, and just like the way, like what characters meet up and go on their own adventures and stuff like that. Like really the only part I think I found not that interesting was like the initial part with like Vision and Wanda where they're like hanging out wherever and they get attacked. Like that part's fine. You know, I don't, you know, it's whatever to me, but like the rest of the part just,
Yeah,
the rest
that scene is just so you can establish, hey, here's Cap.
yeah. Here's Cap, here's what he's doing.
That's what comes with that beard. Whew. Talking about doing things to me again.
Yeah,
Anything
like,
else to
The
say
reasons
about?
I can't put it on S, and you guys can explain why I'm wrong. The beginning
There's not
when
right and wrong, man.
Thanos just bodies Hulk like senselessly, and then it literally puts Hulk in submission for the rest of the MCU so far that we've seen him. I didn't like. I'm fine. Like I knew Thanos should beat him, and it's like, oh, Thanos is a problem. Like it's establishing like Hulk was jobbered, in my opinion. If you guys know wrestling terms, like he was there to fight Thanos to put him over. I did not like that because yes, he had I think the stone at one point, but I don't think he used the stone. He just straight up like
Oh yeah, he didn't use
beat the ever living
Thanos
crap out of him.
Also, apparently bodied Thor, who bodied Hulk, and also bodies Thor again in Endgame. Like Thanos is stronger. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
Thanos's like power level is all over the place though. Like because
But
in this
also,
very
later
movie when
on-
they're all fighting him, there's no excuse for him not destroying all of them.
he is playing.
He doesn't want to. I was about to say the only possible reason is he doesn't want to. Why would he
got
not
new
want to?
toys, and he's just like, haha, hoo-hoo. He's just having fun. Yeah.
He's not trying to kill them. He literally wants. They're nothing to him. He wants to save the galaxy. He's not worried about these.
But they're in his way.
Avengers. Yeah, they're just in his way. So like, all right, cool.
He's also got to get the stone from him, and if he kills him, like, wonder where it is. You know, like, but
Like yeah, he gets the stone, and then later in like the slow montage, like he has the fist on Captain America. He's holding up his like I don't know. It's just like you beat the crap out of Hulk easily, and then like you're playing other times. Like I thought your goal is to get the stones.
Well, he was playing with Hulk.
Yeah.
He could use the gauntlet, but he took it off, and even then, was it Squidward said, like, "Let him have his fun."
Yeah,
because Thanos is like, "Ooh, big guy, let me."
he hits him. He's like, all right, let's do this. I've had fun in a while.
Hulk in the neck, and Hulk's like, what?
Right, which I think was a good. I liked how they did that. Of like, Hulk's never lost like that before, so of course that would like affect his ego, and like, I don't want to do that anymore.
And are you fine with Hulk being a little wuss the rest of the time we know him? Like it it like shook him to his core where he won't be Hulk anymore?
I do not need Hulk to be Dragon Ball Z by any means. I just don't need a brute powerhouse with no personality. Absolutely.
You're asking. I mean, you may be playing to the wrong crowd, but you're asking the wrong guy because I just don't like Hulk. I don't like
where Hulk's going. See, that's what I want. I want the muscle guy who like he gets knocked out and he'll get up 10 times angrier and like keep fighting, not like wuss out now. The other thing real quick I wanted to talk about for you guys is the Star-Lord. I understand emotions got the best of him.
No, it's terrible.
Getting the gauntlet off. You're
terrible.
Right there and you screw it up.
Oh, that part doesn't matter.
Dumb writing to me.
The dumb part about that is Strange should have just, thank you. There you go. Cut your arm off. That should have been the end of that. But
so I still say it's an A+. There's just like things to me just like irk me a little bit. Like I don't understand, and it could just be me. Like why? Or it's just, to me, that was just, the whole glove thing was just lazy writing. And how do we get this to work? And then going forward, if we're comparing this to others, to the 10,000, he went through all the scenarios, right? Does that matter? I guess if everyone's seen Loki and how that was all pre-written anyway, like I don't know how all that works yet.
Million, the TVA just kept showing up and arresting them.
Yeah, like, I think that 100% still matters. Yeah, this is the timeline where that worked.
So obviously a lot of that still hasn't been explained, but that really confuses me. Like, okay, so no one really had free will and everything was, all these characters' decisions were predetermined. And if something like differed, then they would prune them out of that timeline.
Mm-hmm. I will say we could get into the weeds on this, but I will say maybe for expediency's sake, I might have to
I am running out of time, so we got to kind of hit the gas.
Yeah, A+.
Which puts it as an S. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So next,
right where we were,
is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ooh, this movie is a D for me.
Yeah, CD.
D.
I want something to go in E.
Can we move Thor to an E and then?
I would be okay with that.
I like this movie better than the first Ant-Man. I mean, I enjoy this movie. I watched it again yesterday. Like I said, it's the one I.
But the guy who's just trying to steal the building is the part that I hate.
You don't like
no
Boyd?
I don't care.
Boyd Crowder?
Oh, Boyd. I love Boyd, but man, why was he in this movie? I'm going to give this movie an E because this is the movie where the guy at Movie Tavern came and took my tenders.
That's right.
I had half a plate of tenders. I'm eating those and he took it. Threw it away.
He said,
this movie gets an E.
I'll lower to an E for that.
Sorry. What did you say, Brody? I don't know.
I said I just wanted something to go in E, so I was going to put it in E. Because I don't care about Ant-Man.
I'll pour one out for Josh's tendies, and I'll go E.
And again, I get that Ghost, and it's like not necessarily a villain, but like I wasn't interested in any of that at all.
I don't remember her name, like the character's
Ghost is the character's name. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were just calling her Ghost.
No, Ghost.
This movie's probably not worse than the original Thor, but I don't know. I don't care.
Not. I mean,
it's definitely
it's not, but yeah, I'm fine with it where it is. Like those 3 to 4 right there, I'm like, they're pretty interchangeable to me.
All right.
Next we get Captain Marvel.
I thought Captain Marvel is fine.
Low B, high C.
I'd put this one firmly in D for me.
Okay.
I do not like this film.
It's a C for me.
I'm a C.
Low C, high D.
All right, recap. What was it? Everyone just say their letter again.
C.
D.
I do just want to put the note out there because I just don't want to be like, but I will say that Hannah was very moved by this movie, and I could tell that she was energized the way I'm energized when I see Captain America pull the helicopter down, and not just for... but like it was I could tell that like occurred, and I think that is cool, but for me just overall
I will say that me and Samantha, upon leaving the movie theater after seeing Captain Marvel, she said I hated that. That was stupid. That was her feeling.
That was a good Sam impression. I mean, you would have a good one because you live with her. But yeah, that's good.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Is it C or D?
I think it's C.
It'll be
right?
C.
Yeah, the way
We'll just put it right here.
Yeah, that looks good. All right, we got Endgame.
Have you guys ever heard of this one, Avengers Endgame? No one. All right,
I heard it.
I am
high A.
I'd say A.
I was gonna
I'd say an A.
say A. High A.
Is there anyone who
I
thinks
just did.
Endgame is better than Infinity War?
I think it has higher highs for me, but it has a lot more lower lows as well.
It was a complete fan service movie, and that necessarily wasn't a bad thing in this instance. But I was more moved by Infinity War at the end of the day.
It's kind of how like any TV show you watch, the second to last episode is where everything happens, and then the last episode is all the wrap up, which is what
I will
Endgame
say.
was.
I will say the last part of that, the final fight and just everything afterwards is like double S. Like that's like that. Like
Except
I don't think
for-
I've ever been as hype in a movie theater.
Which is also what like
as-
that's like an hour-long fight. Like that fight takes a while, but it doesn't like pound you in the face. It's not just action the entire time.
Except for Doctor Strange just being busy with a tornado.
Hey, but he does tornadoes sometimes.
Hey, he had a
But
lot
make
to
another
do.
one of you and have him do the tornado.
Nah, he's
But it's it's just the fact that like that movie just hits such a high note for me, and then like really the rest of the movie, it's good. I mean, like I don't.
Yeah, no, I think it's a solid A. Like it's got some really great scenes. It's got some great fights. It's got awesome callbacks all throughout it. But yeah, I think it's a solid A. I don't think anyone disagrees, right? Brody, what are you saying? An E?
Yeah, solid E. No, A. Don't like fat Thor, gamer Thor. Don't like Professor Hulk. I do like all the time travel stuff and the final Robert Downey Jr.'s final goodbye.
Time travel and anything can go wrong real quick, and I think they did it well. So
I thought Thor was a very
I liked
semi-accurate depiction of depression.
The thing is, like, I don't like Professor Thor because I would have liked to have seen
Thor.
I want to see Professor.
No, not Professor Thor. Professor Hulk. I would have liked to seen. They just really kind of took it from A to Z. I mean, like, we kind of saw like Hulk kind of going in Banner more. Like, I would have liked a Hulk movie. I would like a Hulk movie where I see the transition from like them being two separate to one now.
Too bad
and
Hulk show.
Exploring that character study.
And it also,
like
it's not like that can't happen, but if you watch Avengers 1, Ultron, Ragnarok, and here, this is the natural progression. Everything Tony was saying to him and this is...
I like Professor Thor.
I would have just liked to have seen that transition a little bit more rather than him being like, I'm one now. And like, honestly, if they made a Hulk movie now and it's like, this is the progression from A to B, I'd be like, oh, cool. You should have done that before.
I do not need World Breaker Hulk until I get to see Galactus.
I don't need super strong Hulk. Honestly, I don't hate the idea of Professor Hulk. I would have just liked to have seen, more so the nitty gritty of them kind of consolidating into becoming that entity, and just kind of like a really cool character study movie about those two characters becoming one now.
I'm a little disappointed the horrible deleted scene that we got that wasn't animated correctly. That the fact that Hulk was one of the remaining superheroes that was active and saving people from burning buildings, I think that's really cool and meaningful to both of the characters of Hulk and Bruce Banner. Because Hulk wanted to be liked. He did not. He left Earth because he was like, those guys don't like me and I'm a problem. So
yeah, that's why he liked that other planet. They all loved him there. Like.
Drake, I definitely agree. I think that would be plenty of content for the main plot line in a movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure in the 6-hour cut of Endgame, you got more of that, but
it's just a little disappointing because at this point, like, the character progression is done. It's kind of like the Black Widow movie. I have no interest in seeing Black Widow because, like, you had your chance to flesh out her character. I don't need retroactive character progression, or character development, because it's kind of like a filler in an anime. It's just like, oh well. her character has to be in the same place that it was for those past movies.
Well, we'll get to Black Widow in a minute, but first we got Spider-Man Far From Home.
Not as good as the first Spider-Man, but still very good. Liked it. I'd say A, B.
I'd say give a low A, high B.
Yeah, I'm fine with A.
Him coming to his own in the Mysterio scene. This again, visuals.
So I got 2 A's, 2 ABs, and a C.
What's your? I'll say real quick. What's your C reasoning there?
Because it's another. Tony Stark did me wrong, so let me go after Tony Stark Jr. And just I don't like Mysterio.
I love the world building of it. Bringing Barf back, bringing that to be the reason. Bringing back Box of Cats guy.
Spider-Man hasn't done enough to have his own villains at this point. He's making them now, but like now that he's a target and he got revealed to be a bad guy on the news, but what has he done to make Mysterio?
Well, I don't know about obviously major villains, but he's been saving a little crime here and there in New York.
He hasn't done anything.
Josh, thanks for speeding up the process.
But also I can't elemental projections isn't as cool as Vulture to me. I enjoyed Vulture much more as a villain than I know it's what Mysterio does and stuff, but it's I don't care as much as I was invested in.
If you're gonna rank the villains, Vulture is absolutely a better villain. He has better motivations, all that type of stuff. But if you're gonna make a movie with Mysterio, I thought they did pretty good because I don't care about Mysterio. That's that guy with the fishbowl head.
Yeah, I think Mysterio's implementation was probably easily my favorite thing about this. Because I was like, how are they going to do Mysterio?
If someone was you have to, and I'm sure someone was, I don't know. Someone's you have to put Mysterio in a movie. All right, you did pretty good.
It's a good way to do it. Mm-hmm. Better than do with. I mean, you could do with magic, but I like projections, drones. Cool.
All right.
So it was weird because also just how far does that really play? But anyway.
Are we doing Black Widow then shows?
Or so we're doing A or where did Far From Home land?
I'm probably a B on that. I think it lands on a B at best, yeah, because we had a C.
I could probably be high B.
Yeah, I'm fine with B. Yeah, Black Widow. Black Widow is next.
All right, so Black Widow, I'm giving
F. It's an F.
Very looking at high B.
I would give it a B. I very much enjoyed that movie. I mean,
I was almost surprised.
I was very surprised. I enjoyed that movie very much. I thought it was good. It did. I mean, I know it's retroactive, but it was good character development. I loved all of the new characters that they brought in: Red Guardian, Yelena, everyone. They were funny. I very much loved them. I bought it on Disney Plus, so I've seen it a few times now. Very high B for me.
Drake, did you watch it or no?
I haven't seen it, so it's an F.
Brody, what was yours? You saw it, right?
I'm high D, low C. There's just too many things that I did not understand in this movie. There's this base in the clouds. It's
I wouldn't
radar.
go into too much detail since Drake hasn't.
Okay. There's a lot of things that they explain it.
I will. Hey, Brody, go into as much detail as you like. I don't care about this film.
That's why it's an F.
There's things that they in movie logic I don't think make sense. And I like the setup of characters that we will be seeing more, and I'm excited to see them. I don't think if this is the last time we see Natasha in the MCU, I wish it was better.
In a world though where Hydra and helicarriers exist, what are you talking about?
That this magic floating base is off radar and was never seen.
But you mean the helicarriers they have, or the secret organizations that are around for hundreds of years and no one knows exist?
Underground is different than in the sky.
You mean helicarriers?
When are they? Yes, we saw them go up, but that's not permanently in the sky invisible. Like this. That was grounded and went up in the sky, right?
Don't understand.
I think what Brody's trying to get across is a helicarrier is an aircraft carrier. It must go up, it must come down and fuel. This is a floating castle in the sky that is aloft somehow.
Also, magic pheromones that make it, if you smell me, you can't touch me or do anything to me. That is stupid to me.
What about the giant green guy who gets real big from gamma rays?
Yeah, like what about the guy who made an infinite energy machine and then he ran out of power?
I think that's a really
science
nitpicky
experiment
thing to,
gone wrong. Like, okay, super soldier serum. Yeah, we can go. Yeah, that's stupid too if you really think about it.
Right.
Like, magic.
Right.
Pheromone
But
perfume.
you just defeated your own point.
Right.
Too much about it. It's
about a
stupid.
freight car. Yeah, Bucky gets told about a freight car and he becomes a psychopathic murderer. Like, I don't see the difference.
Okay. We'll drop that. And then the last thing I wanted to say about this is like Natasha should have broken bones. She doesn't take damage. Between RPG to the car, falling multiple stories, hitting pipes.
She never has taken damage, dude. Her and Hawkeye. It's like, how are you here? It's been stupid the whole time.
It's still stupid.
Honestly,
you can't keep getting away with it. Is what I'm saying.
Well, they ain't gonna get away with it anymore.
That's why they get a C or D. Because
Brody,
it's
I'll tell you,
ridiculous.
they don't get away with it because she ain't fall proof. So she took damage there.
Well, she was fall proof in this movie. It's just that the cliff was a little too taller. And
I feel like I didn't have any of those like scientific movie logic nitpicks with it. I didn't think that the movie substantially made the character any better. Basically she has a sister. I liked that. I like that you get to see her being human a little bit. But as far as like what did the character actually gain from this movie, to me, and I think I said this earlier, it's about the same as Winter Soldier. Like, it was nice. I honestly expected a little bit more for her character from a Black Widow movie, but she still almost played second fiddle to like her family. And I understand it's about her family. That's the whole point, I guess. I thought it was fine. I didn't have any problem with the movie.
I thought it added a lot of context to her death and made it a lot more peaceful. Like, she got a lot to clear out a lot of things. And hey, my VPN was reconnecting. Did my Bucky comment get in? Because everything.
Yes, it froze for a second, but you said yeah.
I do want to ask though. So just from osmosis, I understand that there's a whole bunch more Black Widows. When they're out doing Black Widow stuff, do they still wear the Black Widow outfit?
Yes.
That's stupid.
I agree.
Spies shouldn't have uniforms.
Well, hey, listen.
Okay, go on, Navi.
There is no more. When I look
you're out of focus, boy.
Oh, that's what happens with this camera. It's terrible. When I look at my B and C tiers, I did not like Black Widow probably as much as what's in B. I like Ragnarok better than Black Widow. I liked Spider-Man better than Black Widow. I think I might be kind of right in between B and C on this one.
I have no cat in this fight. So
we have two Bs plus mine, which is like a BC, and then a DC. So it's either a B or C. Where are we going with it?
I'm fine with C, high C.
Yeah, I just like the other movies in B more, so C is fine with me.
How about right there?
Yeah, that works.
Right by Spider-Man.
All right. So are we going to do the Netflix ones, or we just want to skip those?
Well, I mean,
rapid fire at the end.
Yeah, rapid fire.
We don't need to get into it.
Or I mean, unless I'm just throwing this out there. Unless we wanted to reconvene for some reason.
I already put Iron Fist down, so there's only but so many.
It'll be those will be really quick. Well, first, and I am running out of time, but I will say WandaVision for me is probably right where Black Widow is. I liked it. Part of it was a lot of the experience.
It is hard to rank these TV shows with movies because it's so fundamentally different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd put it at a B. It was also it's weird. Like, you had the thing of there was nothing for a year, and then Wanda came out, and we were all very invested in it because we hadn't had anything for a long time. So it was definitely like a cultural like point of time of a thing. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be B because it's like compared to Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3. Yeah, WandaVision's better than that.
It's got its problems, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as Marvel goes forward, I need to see more different stuff. Like, it's like I don't. I need to start seeing zanier things, which, true that, like, Doctor Strange, should have originally delivered on, but I just found everybody in that movie boring. But like WandaVision, it's like, oh, I'm actually caring about the people that's, in this weird stuff. So like, he's good.
It's nice to also get a moment to do such a thing.
Right.
To be able to care about someone who really.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Brody, did you love WandaVision? Did you hate it, or was it fine?
B. I'd say B.
Yep.
All right. I know it's not going to stay there. No, but I would put Falcon Winter Soldier at an S for me.
Wow.
After a rewatch, I'm on a C.
Wow. Okay.
I think
A.
I think I might be high D, low C.
Wow.
This is the most across the board one, apparently. I kind of almost actively disliked / was bored by the first half of the show. And then I thought the second half was stellar.
I agree with that. There's a lot
I
of
like Falcon.
If you watch it all at once like a movie, it kind of was a little revealing to me as just some of it felt like cutting corners. And I love Sam and I love Bucky, and but it definitely seemed, and maybe that's part of the editing process, but it was very clear on my rewatch / binge.
I really enjoy Falcon. I feel like Winter Soldier was here. He got some characterization with like the PTSD stuff and the sun and all that, but like really the sun, like I feel like that should have more room to breathe rather than just in the last episode being like, oh yeah, he went and took care of that. That's fine. And really both of those antagonists I thought had incredible potential, but they were squandered because what's his face, blonde man, he
US
shows
agent?
up and that guy, I don't remember his name, Walkman, he shows up and it's just like, wow, that's gonna be interesting, an evil Cap, but then he's just kind of goes away, and then there's this girl who, like, they keep telling us, oh, she's like so good, people looked up to her, she was like, this guy was like, you could have been Captain America, but like me and Colton, we've talked about this, but like they told us a whole lot about this girl, but they didn't show anything about what she was like before that. Yeah, so like I need don't show me more of her rather than tell me about what this chick's all about. And like
I can see that.
About, like,
I can see.
Yeah, and like my thing is just like
corners. Like it was just
I don't think they're bad villains. I would have just liked to pick one and massage it out. I want to see the whole thing.
I do think her villain, like as a character, kind of it's similar to Killmonger, where I felt like she actually had a reason to do the things she did and stuff like that. It felt a lot more even if we didn't get to see those active things like you're talking about, which I can see, it still seemed like there was something there as opposed to just I'm a bad guy. So I liked that. What were our letters for this? They were all over the place.
I was S. I mean, that show inspired me in a way that nothing Marvel's ever done has inspired me before. I mean,
there was some stuff in there that is unlike anything they've ever done that was incredible.
I mean, I literally bought a Captain America shield after that. I mean, seeing Sam become Captain America, and a show that was so culturally relevant at a time where it was made when it wasn't going to be. It was just
insane.
It was going to be relevant before it was made, but then it just happened to be even more relevant at the time that it came out, which is something you couldn't have predicted to happen. Like that storyline would have been great no matter what was going on in the world at that time. I thought it had great character development. I like the suit. All around I like.
I will say, like Falcon,
Falcon and the Bradleys were absolutely incredible. The story they gave me when I like I said just watched it as a whole, as if it was a movie, which is the wrong way to watch it. But
yeah, I
want to watch it like this. I just want to see the whole story and not turn my brain off for a week before I go to the next one. It was very weird. I was kind of surprised. But yeah.
Letters.
S.
Okay.
C.
I forget what I said. I think I said C.
Okay.
A would be an S, but the Flag Smashers suck eggs so much. I can't go to an S. But everything else about it's great, like Steven said. So A.
I will say this is the I in my home jumped up off of the couch and shouted like a child, yes, when the guy, he's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Captain America. I jumped out of my seat and shouted. And that's a reaction that very little from Marvel has inspired in me. So I'm gonna have to be, even though I didn't like many things about it, I'm probably like a high B, low A. So where does that put us? We got a S, C, C, high A, and a high B. I don't even know. A B?
I think it probably puts you. It's probably B to
Right
A.
next to Wanda.
Probably even.
We'll just put it right there. right on top of Wanda. All right, one more. We got Loki.
Yep.
I
like Loki. It was pretty
like
interesting.
I like Loki.
I think that might be like a BA territory for me.
I'm a high B, low A as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I like it as much as like Endgame, and I know it's hard to compare those things, especially now.
It is, but that's what we're doing.
And it's definitely changing. It's definitely changing the MCU and how everything works. Really interested in the future of Kang and really liked Immortus. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'd say B. I mean, that one show has shaped the entire MCU in a way that no other single thing has really, other than like Infinity War. But like, I mean, really,
I'm telling you, when I saw Loki fall in the sand, I was like, they did that on purpose because this is the new starting point.
Brody.
B as well.
Cool. It's going right in B. Yep. You got any particular thoughts about it?
I love Alligator Loki and all the variants of Loki. I enjoyed the final episode a lot, and mainly the last episode was just the conversation. I don't know how long screen time it was, so it's like the entire episode.
The entire last episode is basically all exposition and dialogue, which is amazing.
Kills it, and it makes me super excited for where they're going. TVA is cool. Owen Wilson's great. Hope to see him again. That was entertaining.
See the man on a jet ski. That's all I want.
I'm a sucker for that aesthetic that the TVA has going for it. That very like 60s office aesthetic. So like as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, I'm in."
That Fallout aesthetic.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like Miss Minutes showed up, and I was like, "Oh yeah,
I'll take some Tara Strong. Why not?"
Mm-hmm.
So here's what we're gonna do. I mean, if you guys want to reconvene later, we can do this, but I don't think we need to. I think just letters for Netflix. No discussion, just letters.
Yep.
Just put all of them at F.
Daredevil.
A.
S.
B.
B.
Wait, is this Daredevil season 1, 2, and 3, or
it's
all
the whole thing, baby? You gotta have season 2 in there.
Excuse me. Regardless, then S, because season 3.
Okay, so we had SASB. Is that right?
That is. Oh, okay.
I would say Daredevil was probably like, if I'm taking the whole thing, no higher than a B. So does that mean Daredevil goes into A rank? Can that be right?
Wait, how many Bs were there?
2 Bs, 2 S's, and an A.
Yeah, A.
Wow.
That's okay.
That is the. Anyone want to change?
I love that show.
We're gonna put Daredevil right there with Black Panther. Does that feel right to you guys?
If I change to C, will that make it a B?
Yes, it will. Let's do that.
I'll change it to C because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's an A.
It's not an A.
I love season 3, but season 2 just
season 2 was trash.
Did you not like The Punisher?
Those first 4 episodes were good.
Oh,
yeah,
I like The
2.
Punisher.
That's part of season 2.
Oh, you want to know what the most of? I'm just gonna say ninjas.
Yeah, it's all dark and ninjas.
No, we're breaking the rules. We're discussing.
All right,
but that's also what Daredevil is, and it might become relevant again. Doesn't super matter, but like, yeah, that's what Daredevil is. Ninjas. And
we get Elektra too. I thought she was great.
Can we also? The new shows are so much better than the Netflix ones.
I disagree. Have you read Frank Miller's Daredevil?
I'm just saying what they gave me was not good. It's just what I'm saying. I wouldn't put that up with. Okay, we're breaking the rule. All right, what's next?
No, this is my favorite part of it. All right, who came after Daredevil? Jessica Jones.
Yes.
Jessica Jones.
B.
That's probably gonna be like a B or a C because you got an S and then you got an E.
Right.
Yeah, I'd say C in
translate
the middle.
out.
C in the
Actually, I
middle.
feel good about C.
See,
It's going to C. It's going to C.
Season 2 was
Despite
just
the
so
fact
bad.
that Killmonger is probably the best bad guy that Marvel has ever had. I'm breaking
You
the
mean
rules.
Kilgrave?
I mean,
Yeah,
you're not
Kill-
wrong,
Kilgrave,
but
that
I
is
don't
what I
know.
mean.
Wilson Fisk is really good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What? Who's
I'm
next?
Sorry, Thanos.
Is it Luke Cage?
Oh, that's
That's a D for me.
An
That's
unfortunate
E.
end
Yeah,
to a
yeah.
show.
that is an E for me.
Yeah, it's a horrible ending.
Oh,
The
to
first
it.
half of season 1 is so good. I have to give it at least a D.
Oh, we got two D's and an E. Man, I would put
But then you spoilers, but then you kill Cottonmouth.
spoilers.
I know, but it's so good up until that
you
point.
off Mashahira Ali, and then you bring in Diamondback. Is it?
Yeah.
That guy.
And then he wears a green fabric suit that is a super suit. Like,
and then
that's hammer
punches a man to death and says, "I'm Luke Cage," and then runs away, expecting that to frame Luke Cage.
Who didn't vote? We got
But
a
they
D, a
have
D, and an E.
I don't know if I said D or not, but they shot the Bulletproof Man twice. So D, if not E.
All right, I think I'd probably put Luke Cage at a C, but it's going into D. Right by Ant-Man and Thor.
You need to rewatch Luke Cage because that's like season 1 is half okay. Season 2 is the most one of the most boring things I've watched.
I think I just hold the first half of season 1 so high. I really liked up until he died, and it just went off a
It
cliff.
is a good chunk of show being dragged down by a bunch of crap.
Who came after Luke Cage?
Was Iron Fist, and it's where
Oh,
it belongs.
we're already
Iron
done with
Fist.
that. What came after that? Defenders?
but can we put Iron Fist a little lower than Hulk for me?
Yeah, but yeah.
I enjoyed
Can it just be barely on screen?
little bit.
Just
Wait,
perfect.
hang on.
Corporate scenes.
Sorry, I would like to ask a question. They made a season 2 of Iron Fist.
Yes.
And it's better than season 1.
Because he uses the glow power on the gun.
Yeah, he does do glow gun.
He has double, which doesn't make sense because he doesn't have the power at the end. So he got the power back, and he has double gun.
Here's my question: Does that main actor work out at all?
No, and he's still bad at fighting.
Cool.
But there's a regular bullet that gets shot at him, and in time he pulls 2 guns and shoots 2 Iron Fist bullets at that bullet, and they just all negate for some reason.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's the ending of the show.
The show culminates in that Colleen ends up getting the Iron Fist, and he doesn't have it anymore. But then the tag at the end is he has it again, and he has guns.
Oh well, I need to watch Iron Fist season 2 then.
Yes, you do. Anyways, we got
Defenders.
And if anyone wants to, Brody, if you want a moment to say something about Iron Fist, that's fine, but it's staying where it is. That's the one I'm just.
It's where it belongs.
I like Typhoid Mary in the second season. The Meachums, I think, are interesting characters in themselves for the side characters, like the humans that you interact with. It's not like the main. I'm invested in their story. I forgot who played Harold, the dad in the first season. David Wyndham. I'm a sucker for anything he's in. Faramir from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Love him. It was definitely miscast, and it's definitely he's not great, and it sucks when your main character is really bad. But it's sometimes so bad it's entertaining. Like the Drunken Master episode, who originally auditioned for the role, I liked him, and I like interacting scene. I mean, it's definitely not good.
I moved it up a little bit for you.
There you go.
Thank you.
hey, does Defenders get its own?
I would say yes.
A.
Oh,
Yep.
there it is.
Really?
C.
I like
Ooh,
Defenders.
I might be more in the C.
I'm probably in the C.
I'm in the C at best.
I actually liked Defenders a lot.
So, all right, what do we got? This is the last one. 3 C's at least, an A. Who didn't go?
I think all of us said C except Colton.
Okay. And my C was a top tier, so does Colton's
And
A pull
I'm
it into B?
with it being in C for sure, but I just need to let it know that I enjoyed it.
I can feel that.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should be lower than Iron Fist.
Oh, Jesus. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I forgot. There it
I don't
is.
think we're doing Agents.
I never watched it. I never
I
watched
think you
it.
had it.
What is it called?
I
I gave up on it. Does that?
I think I watched 4 episodes.
I've watched most of it and I've enjoyed what I watched, but it's like, do I enjoy it more than it's C to D.
All right.
At C at the highest.
Anyone else watch it and have any other input?
F.
I've watched like season 1 and
There's some cool stuff. Like they showed how they got the helicarrier
so
and stuff.
I feel bad for saying anything, but I want to say it.
I mean, they've done ancillary
Doesn't Agent
stuff.
Coulson get Kree? Doesn't Agent Coulson get Kree blood and
That's how he's alive.
and also
yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is no longer canon.
I don't think it is.
Oh,
I mean,
I heard Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is out. I thought
it might be. I don't know. I mean, you get some. I mean, you get Ghost Rider. You get some stuff, but
okay. Well, that's not canon. What about Agent Carter? Didn't watch it.
I didn't watch
Didn't
it.
watch it.
I've heard good things.
I liked it. I put it at C.
All right, we're just gonna go ahead and pop it
I
into
would
C.
say CB. I've watched a good bit. I haven't finished it, but from what I've watched, it just seems like a good show.
Josh, are
Last
you
one.
going in order? Okay.
No, I'm just throwing stuff
Okay.
out there. Last one, Punisher.
Okay, that's wondering where that was.
D.
Oh, I haven't seen the second season of that.
Is Howard the Duck
Um,
canon?
Shut up.
Yes.
Josh, we have to finish the Punisher. We started that before a pandemic, so we got to
Oh,
finish
did
it.
I never see it?
No, we never finished the second
Did
season.
I really never? I think maybe I did. Steve.
We're like, you.
Maybe I
And
didn't.
I think season 2 is better than season 1 in my
I
opinion.
loved Punisher. I
Oh, yeah?
loved it.
I'd say B.
That's it, B.
I'd
B,
like
yeah.
honestly maybe put Punisher at an A. So it sounds like B at highest. What,
I was gonna
Brody, what'd you
C,
say?
But, you know,
I would rate it B. I can't put it in A with all that other stuff.
There we go.
I was
We'll
going to
just
say
pop it
C,
right
but
there.
I guess that averages out to a B.
Let's do that. Does that seem good?
Yeah.
Cool.
And I like
Bye.
how much is up to A to B. Like
It is skewed, but we fulfilled what we were trying to do. There are still definitely some Fs. And again, this is only for MCU. This isn't even compared to any other thing. So like
Mm.
In a bubble.
because
Yeah.
if we're comparing Iron Fist to Arrow, like I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
leave it at that.
Oh, brother.
Oh, brother.
All right, I gotta go pee.
I will say,
All right. Great job, guys. Great job. I
but
think
this tier list doesn't matter because Logan and Spider-Verse outrank them all.
You mean
Spider-Verse is incredible.
I'm not willing to argue there because Logan and Spider-Verse were both absolutely.
I very
Wait,
much like both
that's-
of those films.
Put both of them at S, and then
Hey
put
Drake, have you watched Logan and Noir yet?
No, I
What you
haven't.
doing tomorrow? No, it's
Honestly, like maybe I'm an unfeeling monster, but none of these movies have gotten me to cry or anything close to it. But Logan made me weep.
I did cry at Logan. That's true. 3 MCU movies, also Logan. I cried, and I was shocked that I did.
and Josh, you cried twice.
It came upon me in a way that was very unexpected. It was kind of I liked it.
I remember you being surprised it hit you again. But
Yeah. Well,
So who's ready to schedule that DC Franken?
Bye.
Sorry for watching. Like, subscribe, and blow up. Sorry for watching. Like and subscribe to blow up more.